My favorite part about agriculture is like all the things that I've learned because it's like been really helpful in like everyday life. So like we do a lot here working on the barn, and then like at home I can use those same skills like fixing stuff at my house.
There's some of the skills I learned at ag that help me in life. It's like ag, me teaching how to be a leader, got stuff like that. So I really think that will help me in the long run.
I want my students to take away life skills, something that will prepare them for their future careers, and not only just to go to college or go to the high school, but whatever path they choose to take in their life ahead.
Hello, I'm Patty Rendon, Hillsborough County School Board member for District 4. You're watching Hillsborough Schools TV, and together we're preparing students for life.
I'm Jessica Vaughn, Chair of the Hillsborough County School Board. I want to welcome you to Hillsborough County Public Schools. We serve more than 200,000 students, including children starting with our early learning programs and continuing with adults through our workforce programs.
I'm Karen Perez, the school board's vice chair. Our district is the 7th largest in America, and our team is made up of 24,000 people working at close to 250 sites across the county. Nuestro distrito es el 7º más grande de los Estados Unidos y el 3º más grande del estado de Florida. Nuestro equipo está formado por 24 millones de personas que trabajan en cerca de 250 escuelas en todo el condado.
Our district is diverse and dedicated. Our board meetings are held in our board auditorium on select Tuesdays at 4 p.m. The best way to serve our students and our community is to involve you, the public, in what we do.
You are welcome to meet or email any of our board members and follow our district on social media. School board meetings are covered live by Hillsborough Schools TV on Spectrum 635 and Frontier Channel 32.
Meetings are also streamed live on our website at hillsboroughschools.org. Closed captioning is provided on all broadcasts, and past meetings are available in our online archive.
We are interested in what the public has to say. We'll include time for audience comments before we address our business items. Our agenda and any supporting materials can be viewed online in advance. They are posted 7 days before each meeting on our website at hillsboroughschools.org.
Our vision is preparing students for life, and that means all students every day. Todos los estudiantes, todos los días. Thank you for your interest in education. With your help, we are making decisions that shape our community's future.
November 18th, thank you, is now called to order. Member Perez will lead us in a moment of reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As a mental health provider, I'm committed to advocating for the well-being of our students in the school district. It's crucial that we continue to open our dialogue and proactive approach towards addressing mental health concerns among our youth. The rise in mental health issues, particularly among teenagers, emphasizes the urgent need for ongoing conversations and support and the support systems that we have in place. I continue to urge our district, our parents, and students to recognize the significance of prioritizing mental health discussions and utilizing our resources. By fostering a culture of understanding and destigmatizing mental health, we have empowered our students to seek help and support when needed. Let us continue to champion for increased funding and resources to ensure that our students receive the care and attention they deserve. Together, we have and continue to create a safe and nurturing environment where mental health is valued and the conversations surrounding it are encouraged. Our collective efforts can make a lasting impact on the well-being of our school community. Thank you for your dedication, everyone in this district, to this vital cause, because mental health does matter. Thank you for listening to that. Please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Member Perez, will you please acknowledge our student entertainment?
Absolutely, Madam Chair. I would like to thank the Brandon High School Drumline, along with Principal Allison Wright and the Director Veronica Jacob. These wonderful students entertained us prior to the start of our board meeting, and at this time I would like to invite the students up to introduce themselves.
My name is Eric Rodriguez. I'm in the 11th grade, and I play the cymbals.
My name is Justin Mendoza. I am a graduating senior, and I play the bass drum.
My name is Jonathan Rivera. I'm in 11th grade, and I play snare.
My name is Elijah Ray Guyton. I am in 10th grade, and I play bass drum.
My name is Max Aviso. I am in 11th grade, and I play the quad drums.
My name is Emily Hill. I am in 10th grade, and I play cymbals.
My name is Aiden Morales. I'm in 10th grade, and I play the bass drum.
My name is Jomai Marcia. I'm in the 9th grade, and I play cymbals. My name is Emmanuel Arias, and I'm in the 9th grade, and I play cymbals.
My name is Jada Bowman. I'm in the 9th grade, and I play cymbals.
My name is Kiara Nelson. I'm a senior, and I play bass drum.
My name is Mary Lauren McAloon. I'm in 12th grade, and I'm center snare.
My name is Veronica Jacob. I'm the band director at Brandon High School. Thank you so much for having us and supporting music education.
Good afternoon, Allison Wright, principal at Brandon. I just want to say thank you to Miss Jacob, our drum line. You guys were awesome. I said, I don't know how you can hold that for that long and keep on rhythm. That's very impressive. So thank you for inviting us and helping us showcase all the good things happening at Brandon High School.
All right, good job.
Not only did you sound amazing, but your uniforms are fantastic. You guys look great. Nice job.
Good job.
All right, I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Dr. Hahn. Any discussion? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. Let the record reflect that all board members are present. We have one set of minutes to be approved today, October 28th, 2025 school board meeting. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes. I have a motion by Member Perez and a second by Member Cones. Any discussion? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. Board members, I'd like to go over the format of today's meeting. As a reminder, we're a nonpartisan board who believe all children can be empowered to learn and to succeed, and our decisions will be made with that understanding. To pave the way for efficient agenda statements and questions, board members, you will have 5 minutes to speak with 30 seconds for final thoughts. Afterwards, the superintendent can respond. If you have further questions, you're asked to get back in the queue. Member Perez will now read the board guidelines.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we begin this afternoon's meeting, please allow me to quickly review the format of our school board meetings. Please silence all electronic devices. There are speakers in the room behind me that allow board members to hear the meeting upon stepping away from the dais. This meeting can be viewed with closed captioning on a live webcast on cable TV and on video monitors here in the auditorium. It also can be viewed with closed captioning on the online video archive.
Thank you. We have one item scheduled for time certain. That's 6 p.m. for employee and student input. Now we'll do our Recognition A01 Recognition American Education Week, November 17th through the 21st, 2025, and National Education Support Professional Days, November 19th, 2025. Dr. Hahn will highlight this item.
First celebrated, thank you, Chair Vaughn, first of all.
You're welcome.
Jump right in. First celebrated on December 4th through 10th in 1921, American Education Week spotlights the crucial need to create great public schools for all students and raises awareness that educators, parents, community members, business leaders, elected officials, and students all have a part to play in supporting the teaching and learning process. American Education Week presents all Americans with a wonderful opportunity to celebrate public education and honor individuals who are making a difference in ensuring that every child receives a quality education.
Thank you.
Want me to read the next one?
Yes. Is that the whole thing? I don't have it here.
No, I have National Education Support Professionals Day. November 19th, 2025. Today is, we're celebrating our educational support professionals. And National Education Support Professionals Day was first celebrated after the National Education Association's Representative Assembly called for the creation of a way to honor the contributions of school support staff. National ESP Day is a time to strengthen, support, and respect for our colleagues. Today's support professionals provide invaluable services that enable students to learn in positive, supportive environments. ESPs are equal and essential partners in the education process, and National ESP Day is observed on Wednesday during American Education Week.
All right, I think that's it, right? You did a great job. Thank you. Said that very professionally. All right. Now we'll move on to public comment. I feel like this is so loud, so I'm going to try to move it away. The board welcomes comments from citizens and values your input to the board. In order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments, our staff will follow up with you and keep our board informed of the responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak to the board, and we appreciate you taking your time to be here. You have the right to speak about any issue you'd like, and you will not be interrupted. However, any behavior intended to interrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting will not be allowed. We do request that you try to focus on the issues. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. This afternoon, each speaker will have 3 minutes. Reminder that your 3 minutes start when you begin speaking. When there are 30 seconds left, you'll see a yellow light on the lectern and hear a chime. A red light and a chime will indicate when your time is up. I'll now call up our first 4 speakers? 5, our first 5 speakers. All of our speakers. All the speakers.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Reyes.
I will be translating for her.
Gracias por la oportunidad de estar aquí. Para mí es un honor. Quiero resaltar las cualidades de Karen Pérez. Soy productora y presentadora de radio y televisión, donde tenemos un programa todos los domingos de 10 a 11 de la mañana.
It's an honor for me to be here today. I would like to speak on the great attributes of Ms. Karen Perez, and also, ¿cuál era tu programa?
Salud, vida y algo más con Eli.
And she wants to talk about her radio program that she has about health with Eli.
Karen Pérez ha demostrado con sus acciones ser una persona ética, íntegra, tiene un corazón bien grande y humilde.
Karen Perez has shown to be a person of integrity with a big heart and committed.
En el programa de Salud, Vida y algo más con Eli, ella tiene un segmento todos los domingos donde es admirable la labor que ella está llevando a través del programa de radio, donde lleva líderes comunitarios para que la comunidad sepan lo que ellos están haciendo.
Ms. Karen Perez has a segment in her radio program every Sunday where she has the opportunity to invite community leaders to come and speak on behalf.
Los servicios que están brindando a la comunidad, pero no solamente eso, sino ella también lleva el mensaje de lo que hace el superintendente, el equipo de trabajo, de más compañeros para los estudiantes, especialmente para nuestra juventud, que son el futuro del mañana.
Not only does she come in and invite community leaders and speaks of all the opportunities, but she also speaks about the great and wonderful things that the superintendent and her colleagues are doing in the school district and the opportunities and services for the youth, which are the future of tomorrow.
Para nosotros ha sido un plus tenerla en el programa por toda la información tan valiosa que ella comparte, donde todos los radioescuchas llaman, se comunican a través de las ondas radiales, otros productores, resaltando la labor tan linda que está llevando la señora Karen y la información que está compartiendo a través de las ondas radiales.
For our radio station, we are fortunate to have someone like Karen Perez come and speak because she shares of all the resources and opportunities there are, and also for other community leaders or partners to know what is going on and what's offered.
Es un excelente servidor público, lleva 24/7 Y para mí es un honor tenerla en el programa, ver cómo el respeto, el cariño, la aceptación que ella tiene y sobre todo esa pasión y esa hambre de querer ayudar a nuestros niños y no solamente eso, sino aportar algo positivo en relación a que la gente sepa lo que el Departamento de Educación aquí en el condado de Hillsborough están haciendo por nuestros niños.
Okay, voy a tratar de repetir todo eso que acabas de decir. She is definitely a public servant of the community, and for us to just acknowledge. Si me puedes repetir un poquito más.
Okay. Sí, es un servidor público.
She is a public servant.
24/7.
24/7.
Y demuestra con sus acciones, no solamente con palabras, sino esa pasión y esa hambre que ella tiene para poder ayudar a nuestros niños.
She has demonstrated, not just with her words, but her actions, the passion that she has for the community and the youth.
Y la gente la observa, lo admira y así y todos los comentarios que hacen sobre ella es positivo y es bueno que se esté llevando esa información porque hay mucha desinformación hoy en día de realmente qué está haciendo el Departamento de Educación por nuestros niños.
The information is so important. The public has received it in a positive way and are able to communicate through this radio station or this vehicle. And it's so important because a lot of misinformation is out there in the community. And through this vehicle, she is able to share what's really going on in the school district and clarify misinformation that is out in the community.
Así que los invito a que se comuniquen, ¿verdad? Todos los domingos de 10 a 11 de la mañana.
So I invite everyone here to join us on Sundays from 10 to 11 in the morning.
Super Q.
Super Q.
106.7 FM.
106.7 FM.
1300 AM.
1300 AM.
Tan latina como tú.
As Latin as you.
Todos los domingos.
Every Sunday.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you. Gracias. Muchas gracias. Next speaker, please.
Way to go, Chair.
Hola, no, I'm joking. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gianni Hunt. I am here today as a parent of 3 Hillsborough County students, as a concerned citizen, and as a community advocate. And I want to talk about the Schools of Hope, and it's important. And the reason that it's important is that the decisions that are made right now, they're going to shape whether schools in our county remain accountable to the communities they serve or whether they are handed over to private operators with no local oversight and no local voice. Florida Schools of Hope, the adjustment to the law, or the original, was created to provide targeted support for students in persistently low-performing schools. However, this new adjustment has warped that intent. Instead of supporting and lifting up struggling schools, it turned a focused improvement program into a statewide charter expansion tool, allowing private operators to seize public school space, even in successful schools, with no accountability, no transparency, and no local say. Parents and community members have been clear. They want investment in the schools their children already attend. They ask for smaller class sizes, more reading coaches, mental health advocates and counselors, and safe facilities for their students. Families want after-school tutoring, bilingual aids, and updated technologies. This new rule diverts resources away from those priorities and hands them to outside operators who answer to no one locally. And the harm falls hardest on the most vulnerable students. A child with disability may lose a therapy room that's labeled vacant. A Title I school serving low-income families may be forced to share its cafeteria or its gym, which will disrupt meal times for those individuals. It will disrupt the existing programs, and it can compromise those safe spaces for those students. And let's face it, we're going to pay twice for it. And these charter schools, they're not paying anything for it. Hope operators get rent-free access to public buildings and district-funded services like custodial workers, maintenance, and even our security. Every diverted dollar means fewer electives, fewer art programs, and fewer supports for the very students who need it the most. At this pivotal moment, I ask for your cooperation and advocacy. to stand with the parents and students of Hillsborough County, to protect our public schools, and to ensure that resources go where families have been asking for them to go all along, in the classrooms and in programs that serve our current students right now. And I just ask this, that whatever tool you have in your arsenal, please use it. The community is asking for you to protect our public schools. So please use it. Do not hold back. Families are asking for this, communities are asking for this, and we are looking for your cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Ellen Lyons. I'm here today to urge the board to support the repeal of amendments to a Florida law that lets private, for-profit charter operators occupy space in public schools for free. Until this year, the purpose of the Schools of Hope statute was to offer families an option for a charter provider in a persistently low-performing school. However, in 2025, the legislature made changes to the Schools of Hope statute, which now allows private for-profit operators to occupy classrooms, cafeteria space, athletics facilities, and other spaces for free, without paying a dime of rent for the use of those facilities. And the private for-profit charter operators will also get free student nutrition services, free custodial services, free nursing services, and even free electricity. Now, who's going to pay for this cost? Because even electricity is more than $100 a year per student. It can be much higher than that in certain counties. It's us. It's us, the taxpayers, whose property taxes support education. Also, the law allows the private for-profit operator to get access to the student information system for the district. That's extremely troubling. 2 for-profit operators have already targeted 22 schools in our district, and even more demand letters may be on the way. For-profit operators are not just targeting persistently low-performing schools anymore. They're targeting every school with a vacancy. Well, the vacancies are based upon the Florida Inventory of Schoolhouses report, which is looks at square footage and then the number of students. Some schools are stable, they are performing perfectly fine, and they might not have as many students per square foot. It doesn't mean that the school has room to support another school under the very same roof. The Schools of Hope statute was never meant to be a tool for private operators to occupy stable schools. So please support the repeal of the 2025 changes to the Florida Schools of Hope statute. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. My name is Amy Marie Granger Welch, and I'm here representing Families for Strong Public Schools. We're a statewide, nonpartisan organization committed to ensuring that every child has access to a strong, stable, publicly governed school. I'm asking you tonight to stand firmly against Schools of Hope co-location in our district. This new state rule is a clear example of Tallahassee overruling local authority. It gives state-appointed officials the power to override your decisions and declare any campus with even a handful of open seats underused. When that happens, you can be compelled to give part or even all of a public school to a private operator without rent, while the district continues covering transportation, safety, custodial, utilities, and the other essential services. In reality, this creates a parallel, privately run school system inside our existing schools, one that taxpayers are required to subsidize, even though it answers to no locally elected board. It drains resources from the very schools our communities rely on and shifts public assets into private hands. But the most troubling element is the student data access buried in this rule. Hope operators would be granted entry into the district's internal student information systems. That means a private operator could view a child's academic record, demographic information, disability-related details, attendance patterns, and even discipline notes. Data families trust you to protect with care. And unlike our public schools, these operators are not bound by the same transparency requirements or community oversight. There are no clear protections for how this information is stored, who it can be shared with, or what happens if it's misused. Families have no meaningful avenue to challenge or review these decisions, and that is a significant and unnecessary risk to student privacy. All of this is occurring in a time when our schools are already stretched thin, operating with less funding and real dollars than they had over a decade ago. Pushing districts to give up facilities and absorb extra costs makes it harder to invest in the programs and staff our students depend on. Families for Strong Public Schools believes that our community schools should be guided by the people who live here, not controlled by state mandates or private companies. I urge you to take action, pass a resolution opposing co-location, protect local control, and defend the privacy and safety of the students entrusted to you. Thank you for your time and your service to our community.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Betsy Braden. I have 2 children that graduated from Plant High School. Thank you for letting me speak. I am also here again to speak about the hostile takeover of our public schools by the Schools of Hope, which I say nope. Since I was here last month, Schools of Nope charters added 60 more Hillsborough County schools to the list for their hostile takeover. Their threat is becoming a tsunami. I'm asking you to hold public hearings about Schools of Nope and demand that the legislators repeal this bill. We need to keep local control of our schools. I did speak with my representative, Karen Pittman, whose children went to public schools of Nope. I spoke with Karen Pittman, whose children went to public schools. And she didn't know anything about this Schools of Nope, and she didn't realize how devastating it is. So I feel it's very important to educate our legislators who voted for it and didn't even know what it was. As I said at the last meeting, Schools of Nope is a Trojan horse meant to destroy public schools and give taxpayer money to the Education Commission's charter school friends. The public schools pay all of the charter schools' expenses. For example, they have to give up their cafeterias and gyms, provide busing and janitorial services for free. Meanwhile, the charter schools have no accountability. They pay no rent. They never have to leave the school. Make sure you reach out to your representatives and neighbors and educate them that the Schools of Nope will destroy public schools. Please hold the town hall on how we can educate the public on Schools of Nope and how we can fight back. And now I would like to thank Karen Perez for having me on her radio show. We spoke about guns in schools, and that brings me to a point. I want everybody to be aware that HB 133 has been introduced. This bill drops the long gun purchase age from 21 to 18. We need to call our legislators and tell them to vote against it. This will make Florida more dangerous. We don't need a repeat of Parkland. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the reorganization of the board, but before we begin, Member Perez asked to say a few words.
Honor you. So I would like to first read a resolution, in honor of our chair. This resolution reads as follows. Whereas Jessica Vaughn has served the students, staff, and families of Hillsborough County Public Schools with dedication and distinction as the elected representative for District 3, and whereas during her tenure, the school board chair, Ms. Vaughn, demonstrated steadfast leadership, collaboration, and a deep commitment to public education. And whereas Ms. Vaughn has been a passionate, underscored, advocate for equitable educational opportunities for all students, ensuring that voices of schools, educators, and families across the district were heard and valued. And whereas Ms. Vaughn is successfully implementing the District 3 Student Advisory Council, empowering students to engage directly with district leadership, fostering civic responsibility, and ensuring that student perspectives play a central role in shaping district policy. And whereas Ms. Vaughn has been a strong advocate for Montessori education, supporting innovative and student-centered learning environments that nurture curiosity, independence, and a lifelong love of learning. And whereas Ms. Vaughn serves the needs of the community through her active participation on numerous councils and boards, including Central Florida Public School Board Coalition, the Council of Great City Schools, and the Tampa Theater Board of Directors. And whereas as a former classroom teacher, Ms. Vaughn brought firsthand knowledge, empathy, and practical experience to her role on the school board, helping to guide thoughtful discussions that prioritize the well-being and success of both students and staff. And whereas her unwavering commitment to transparency, collaboration, and community engagement has strengthened trust between the district and families it serves, now therefore be it resolved that the Hillsborough County School Board expresses its deepest appreciation to Jessica Vaughn for her exceptional service, leadership, and dedication as School Board Chair and District 3 Representative. And be it further resolved that this resolution be entered into the official records of Hillsborough County School Board as a lasting tribute to Ms. Vaughn's impactful contributions to public education in our community, adopted this day, the 18th of November, 2025, by the Hillsborough County School Board.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Wait, hold one moment. Can I entertain a motion and ask for a second to adopt this resolution? I have a motion by Member Hahn and a second by Member Combs. Any discussion? Member Hahn?
Of course, there's got to be a little discussion. Well, I just want to take a moment to thank Member Vaughn for her leadership over the past year. Serving as chair is never easy, but you make it look easy. And I truly appreciate all your time, your energy, your commitment, and thoughtfulness that you brought to this role over the last year. But mostly, I want to thank you for what you have done to support this board as chair. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Gray?
Yes, I certainly do appreciate your leadership, and your service has been emblematic for a student-centered individual, keeping the eye on the students, and I really appreciate it. So thank you very much for the time and effort that you have put forth for our district. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Combs?
Yes, thank you, Chair Vaughn. You've been an amazing leader, great listener. I always love your energy, feisty, how you always are. And I think the most important thing is that you've worked so hard at keeping our board together. I think together we're stronger together, and I think we all have a really good relationship, and I think you leading that has helped build and strengthen this board. So I thank you for that. I think, the cabinet, everyone working together, I feel like when we have a strong leader, it helps bring the whole board together. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. This job doesn't just start here on the dais. There are so many hours spent off of this dais and around the community. And so I want to personally thank you for all the extra hours it takes to become chair on this board. The time that you take to not only be preparing for this meeting, preparing with us as we move forward, but also the time you put into your community, into this entire district for things that making sure that people understand what we do and how we do it. And what's important is the students in our schools and our community. And so thank you so very much for not just the time here on the dais, but the time you take all year long. I know it takes time away from your family. It takes time away from yourself and your health. And so it's been a very meaningful experience for you to be able to do that. And we appreciate you very much. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Washington?
Thank you, ma'am. And also, Chair Vaughn, I want to really thank you for just bringing the group together, because sometimes we kind of a little difficult to work with, but you do a great job with bringing us together. I said sometimes. But I really appreciate you because you have that family atmosphere and you display everything that a chair should be. Not only a family atmosphere, we get out early sometime too under you, and which is great. But all jokes aside, I really appreciate what all you have done for the board and all you will continue doing, and you'll be an outstanding chair, and love you.
And Superintendent Ayers.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Chair Vaughn, first off, this year has absolutely flown by. To think that we're here now, getting ready to have a reorganization this year has flown by. And during the resolution, then the term came up, the adjective around passionate. We've had many passionate discussions over the past year. There's a few, but I appreciate your leadership in driving this district forward. From myself, this entire cabinet, thank you for an incredible year. We've had a lot of big decisions to make along the way, but your leadership has been so impactful to the direction of the school district. So thank you so much.
And being co-chair with you has been, quite an amazing blessing for me, because to watch you, really fight for what you believe in, has been impactful, just to this district alone, but also knowing your personal challenges coming into this, also, riding this almost like a two person bicycle by yourself has been amazing for me to watch. But every time I see you, something that it's something that repeats in my head is fight, because I know that you're going to get in there and you're going to do that, and it doesn't matter, but that's just you, and that's the passion that you bring to this role, and I really appreciate you for that. But wait, there's other stuff for you. This is from a 5th grade student from Carter, Emily. And I don't think there's a name on it, but
look at that. Nothing says Jessica like this. Yeah, right? It's like a Picasso. Colorful, kind of drawn thing. Thank you. Thank you.
And this is from our board.
Oh, it's beautiful. Look at this. Thank you, guys. These are beautiful. I love you. Thank you. I love the flowers and all of my fellow board members. If I'm allowed to say that. Thank you.
All of us. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
Oh, yes. Excuse me. Yes.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Look at that.
Yes. And
thank you. Oh, and the resolution?
First.
Oh, thank you.
Did you like to hit that gavel? Yeah.
So I always have something to smash. Oh, this is beautiful.
And then your resolution.
Thank you. I love this. Thank you. Oh, you want me to shake it?
Thank you for reminding me. Thank you.
Thank you.
No,
Well,
I said thank you.
Also,
Thank you.
thank you to my chair. I have my co-chair. I have something for you. And I also want to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to my co-chair, Karen Perez. It's been an honor to serve alongside of you. Your dedication to the families of Hillsborough County, to our students, is evident in everything that you do. You lead with both strength and compassion, and our district is better because of your commitment. So thank you for being my co-chair and for leading. And for everyone else, I just wanted to say how deeply grateful I am. I have to read this because I get nervous in this types of situations. How grateful I am to all of you for trusting me with the role of chair this past year. Being elected by my fellow board members was an absolute honor. And was what truly made this year meaningful in itself is the fact that we all work together so well. Thank you for showing up with open minds, open hearts, and a genuine willingness to collaborate. I know there were a few workshops where they were hard to get through, and I know that you guys came because of the spirit of collaboration. You made the hard conversations easier, the tough decisions clearer, and the successes sweeter. And because of you and the work that we've all shared together, that's what leadership is really about. It's about the team and collaboration. So I just want to say thank you to you all. And serving as chair has been an honor, but serving with you is what I'll most remember. So thank you for making this year something I'm truly proud of, our board. All right, and that feels like enough now, right? That's been so much. So thank you, guys. I will now ask Mr. Porter to explain the process of election for chair and then turn the meeting over to Superintendent Ayers to conduct the election for chair.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair and board members. Florida statutes require that this board elect a chair of the school board every year at this time. The law also provides that you may elect a vice chair, which this board has traditionally done. The nominations will work this way. Anyone can nominate anyone on the board. All 7 of you are eligible. You also may nominate yourself. Nominations do not require a second. Whoever is nominated needs at least 4 votes to be named chair. If more than one person is nominated, you will vote by written ballot, which are prepared and ready for your use with your name on it. Those ballots do become public records. With that, I'll be happy to turn this over to the superintendent so he may conduct the elections for chair.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Board members, the floor is now open for nominations for chair. To be recognized, please raise your hand to make a nomination. As Mr. Porter stated, nominations do not need to be seconded. Member Combs?
I'd like to nominate our current vice chair, Karen Perez, as chair.
Are there any other nominations? I see no other nominations.
So Ms. Perez has been nominated for chair. Just to memorialize this, it will require a vote. So the motion has been made by Member Combs to nominate Member Perez as chair. And just, if you could record your votes when the lights appear. So congratulations, Madam Chair.
Congratulations, Madam Chair.
The superintendent now will conduct the election for vice chair. The same process.
Yep, same process. The floor is now open for nominations for vice chair. To be recognized, please raise your hand to make a nomination, and nominations do not need to be seconded.
I nominate Nadia Combs for vice chair.
I have a nomination for Member Combs. Are there any other nominations? Member Hahn?
I want to. We typically, when we nominate people, we always kind of give a rationale as to why we bring their name forward. I don't know why we got away from that, but I'm going to bring us back to that. The reorg meetings of the school board is a really important opportunity for us to demonstrate our commitment to the spirit of nonpartisan leadership. So in that spirit that we always say we are, a nonpartisan board, I would like to nominate Member Rendon for vice chair. Member Rendon brings a genuine passion and a deep commitment to her role as a board member. She consistently supports initiatives across all of our districts and demonstrates exceptional community engagement. She is everywhere. By actively participating in school and community events throughout the year. But most importantly, she's a strong advocate for our teachers and families and staff. So Member Rendon is always well informed, and she's thoroughly prepared for every meeting, and I believe she would be an excellent choice for vice chair.
Two nominations for vice chair. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, nominations are now closed.
So now Ms. Arja will pass out ballots. Again, you need to write the name of your selection for vice chair. These do become public record. At the end, the superintendent will announce the results. The winning candidate needs to have 4 votes to be named vice chair. And as the superintendent prepares to announce the results, if you could, after the vote, if you could identify who voted for whom for the record.
The new vice chair for the school board is Nadia Combs. So I will read off to the record the votes, everyone's vote. So Henry Shake Washington voted for Nadia Combs, Jessica Vaughn, Nadia Combs, Karen Perez, Nadia Combs, Nadia Combs, Nadia Combs, Lynn Gray, Nadia Combs, and the 2 votes for Ms. Rendon were from Ms. Rendon and member Dr. Hahn.
Okay, thank you. So the new vice chair is member Perez. Board members, before you adjourn, you did not vote on the resolution for Ms. I'm sorry, member Combs. Sorry. You need to vote on the resolution for honoring the chair too. So if you could bring the lights up and vote on that. You do vote on resolutions, yes. You don't vote on recognitions. But
Resolutions.
yeah.
I'm going to vote no.
If you could bring the lights up, please. Correct. That's-
For the vice chair.
And the motion passes.
Do we need to vote for the vice chair for the record, Mr. Porter? I read off do they need to vote, or this satisfies the?
That satisfies
Okay,
it, yes.
thank you.
Now we will take a 15-minute recess to reorganize and take new school board photos. We will now reconvene this school board meeting. Okay. Is this on? Okay. Now we will reconvene the school board meeting November 18, 2025. Item 601, annual meeting of the Hillsborough Leasing Corporation for certificates of participation. At this time, Jamie Lewis, Chief Financial Officer, will introduce Mr. Patel, our bond counsel, with Nabbers, Gilbin, and Nickerson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hillsborough is lucky tonight to have Mr. Patel with us, who has been our bond counsel for a number of years. He's represented us throughout these years. We want to thank him for his long-time service with us, and at this time, I'll hand it over to Mr. Patel.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Good afternoon, members of the board. Mr. Superintendent, Ritesh Patel, Neighbors, Giblin, and Nickerson, your bond counsel. Today, you are meeting as the Leasing Corporation. Did we convene the meeting?
So Ms. Vaughn needs to convene the meeting.
Okay. Well, it says, thank you, Mr. Patel. I'll now recommend the appointment of the current school.
Just need to convene the meeting. So, yeah.
Okay. I will now reconvene this meeting.
Thank you. And then he'll take it from here.
Now, you've convened the meeting as the Leasing Corporation. Each year, under the bylaws of the Leasing Corporation, you're required to hold your annual meeting of the Leasing Corp on the same date as the reorganization meeting of the school board in order to install your new officers as members of the board of the Leasing Corporation and appoint officers and reappoint the superintendent as secretary treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. I now recommend the appointment of the current members of the school board as the board of directors of the Leasing Corporation. And I need a motion for that. Motion made by Chair Perez, second made by Member Gray. Any discussion? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. I'll now ask for a motion to appoint our new chair as chair and president of the board of directors, and our new vice chair as vice chair and vice president of the board of directors, and Superintendent Van Ayers as the secretary and treasurer of the Leasing Corporation. So I need a motion for that, and I have a motion by Member Rendon and a second by Member Washington. Any discussion? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. I will now adjourn the School Board Leasing Corporation meeting, reconvene the school board meeting, and turn it back over to our new chair.
I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Combs. Please vote when your lights appear. And the consent agenda has been approved. The following items will now be heard: C712 and C713. C712, guaranteed maximum price for facility rebuild project at Jess Elementary School and Stewart Middle School. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board members, this item 712 requires approval of the GMP for the facility rebuild project at Just Elementary School and Stewart Middle School. The need is due to the age of the existing Stewart Middle School and flood elevation. The problem is being resolved by new construction and site fill. Just on the funds, this project is funded by our half-penny sales tax for the Stewart rebuild in combination with our community investment tax funds received through the CIT tax. And Madam Chair, that is 712.
Thank you, Superintendent. I need a motion and a second to approve item C12. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Washington. Member Rendon, Member Gray, and Member Combs pull this item. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So what I see is a huge growth in the West River area. It's just tremendously exciting. You have affordable housing. You've got 150 different units being built, and this whole area is just being transformed. So what I think on this particular agenda item, when you look at the way that we're laying this out, and Mr. Farkas, please correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking at perhaps Dunbar being a early learning, and then just elementary, and then Stewart being the middle, and then behold, you have Blake. So what we're looking at is the West River area embraces right now all of our public schools, and that area is growing by leaps and bounds. And then if you go into Stewart Middle School, holy mackerel, the building, the infrastructure inside and outside is crumbling beyond repair. Pipes are rusted. So we definitely need to have a revitalization of Stewart, and matching that with the revitalization of West River area is the same, matching the same with the same in terms of new and exciting buildings. One of the things I heard, and I think we can say this, we're making just, and help me out with this, are we turning that into a STEM school or a Cambridge type of magnet?
We can. Gary, do you want to address
Gary? Brady?
Yes, Ms. Gray. Yes, just would be a Cambridge primary school also, which would be the first of its kind. And then as well as it would have STEM, performing arts, accelerated, all offerings, pathways for exposure for students at both Just and Stewart before they make their final decision about high school.
Yeah, and then if we look at Blake, doesn't that currently have not only its performing arts, but it has a healthy STEM program there as well?
ACE, AP, yes. And STEM, yes.
Yes. So I look at this as a really great stepping stone. You've got a great pre-K plan. Then we go right to Just Elementary. And then you go to Stewart, and then perhaps, if the child chooses, Blake. So very formidable and very exciting. The most important point, though, that needs to be said is this is the right thing to do for this historical community. Investing in the population of those areas that are with a lot of Black history, a lot of leaders, it's so much, it speaks volumes of the respect that our district is showing these communities. And I cannot thank our superintendent, Mr. Farkas, Mr. Brady, and the cabinet for establishing a huge, healthy profile in the final analysis as this all comes to being. Mr. Farkas, there was a complaint about $30 million regarding upgrading or renovating Stewart, but what's your thoughts on that?
Well, we're going to own the building. So if the board decides this isn't a direction they wanted to go with the knockdown rebuild of Stewart, we'd still be the stewards of that building, no pun intended. So we'd make sure that we'd have to repair that. We'd have about $30 to $40 million. We haven't priced it out, so that's an estimate. Stewart needs a new roof, new windows, and a new air conditioning system. The reason we've kind of held back on that is the possibility of this coming forward. So if the board decides this isn't the direction they want to go, we'll have another item that we'll be bringing forward for the cost to repair the current Stewart situation. You're right. There's something called tuck pointing, which takes the mortar out of the bricks and makes sure that we redo it so we have a healthy envelope. There's a lot of things that need to be done at that school, which we can do. We've done that in other schools, but there's definitely a substantial cost that goes along with it.
And I could add to that, just along with Mr. Farkas, that's to the Stewart. The building that you're speaking of was initially the Blake High School back in 1956. So that building that we're speaking of at Stewart was built in 1956, changed to Stewart in 1996 when our current Blake High School was added right next door along the river. We opened Blake in 1997. So the Stewart building currently that you're speaking of, and the condition was built in 1956. You're getting close to a 70-year-old building next year. So just wanted to add a little bit on to Mr. Farkas's comments there.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly went through the building last week, and yeah, indeed, it's in very poor condition. I want to thank Principal Beretta Wilson, Dr. Wilson, for being a wonderful principal there at Stewart. She's done a marvelous job. And I think we have a lot to look forward to as this community is evolving. And I thank you for bringing this forward. And I know that Member Washington will have more of the historical profile and its meaningful plan of as we get through this and the investment for our black community. So thank you, Madam Chair. I'm done with my comments, and thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Hahn?
I got the lucky microphone, the lazy one. Thank you, Chair Perez. So my comments on items 7.12 and 7.13 are very similar, so I'm just going to what I'm saying now is going to go for that as well. So my main concern with 7.12, and first, we've had many conversations about this over the last year probably, but a lot over the last month, and I'll get to that. My main concern with 7.12 is about the assumptions made regarding enrollment and how programs will impact enrollment, because we've seen a lot of really good programs on paper not really draw the enrollment. I haven't seen any surveys of the Dunbar families, we talked about that, to gauge their interest in moving to JUST versus SLY, which is I think where most of they go right now. Nor do I see any data, around new families in the area due to a lot of the gentrification that's happening. But today I am really looking at the big picture. Some of this was touched on by public comment. And I don't think you can make a decision about 7.12 and 7.13 without considering the co-location bill that was passed last year during legislative session. I hope this legislative session provides clear guidelines, especially for defining capacity. And there's there's just a litany of concerns around, not having guidelines. And but over the past month, the superintendent and I have spoken about this, and I've spoken with cabinet, and I feel that we should be extremely cautious about starting any new construction at this time that could make schools vulnerable to co-location. And I understand the superintendent's rationale for both JUST, Stewart, and middle school VV, but I do not think that the timing is right. Timing is everything in life, whether it's personal or professional. And I don't think right now is the right time to bring these two items forward. I did ask him to wait until after session. And given the investment in these projects of $180 million, I think that would have been the most fiscally responsible decision. I know how easily it can be to just focus on an agenda item and get very myopic in how we think about these. But in the current state that we're in with co-location, we need to look at the big picture and the implications that this can have for both our operational and fiscal efficiencies and funding. And I understand that these two items are important to their communities, and a delay of a few months may be very disappointing. But I also believe that moving forward with approximately $180 million in construction, only to have to turn part of these buildings over for co-location would be devastating for our families and students and our financial stability. If after a period of delay, delaying this, and if the situation remains unchanged with the co-location bill, I would say we could be thankful we did not proceed today prematurely. And this restraint would allow us to reassess our approach and develop a new strategy and plan that would address not only our current schools, but also schools we've envisioned building over the next 5 years. So at this time, I think your plan is well thought out for both schools. I know it's important to the community. I am very concerned, as you know, when new schools open, they open sometimes at 50% capacity, and they are very vulnerable to co-location. I would ask to get through session to see if we can make some headway into guidelines around co-location. And I think that is a very thoughtful way to proceed. So at this time, I cannot in good faith approve 7.12 or 7.13. and my comments with this stand, by both items, but it really does concern me. As many of the folks talked about, this is the reality. This is a big picture. I'm a big picture thinker. I think that's how you solve problems. I think you get too in the weeds and you miss crucial aspects of decision making. So those are my concerns. I know this would probably, be wonderful things to consider after session, but I am very, very concerned. And I think to pause this for a few months, I'm not saying, it in the big picture, it would, obviously be the more prudent thing to do. So that's where I stand. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Combs?
Thank you. Just a couple things with the co-location. I think we're never going to really see, things are constantly moving and we're never going to have any clarity. I look at 21 years ago, Walton Academy opened, and for 21 years, nobody even asked questions like, are you a certified teacher, or do you have an education background, things like that. So for me, co-location things are not going to make a decision like that. I think about the vote at Just, and for me, that was probably, in the almost 5 years I've been on the board, was probably my most difficult decision, because I made that decision with the idea that students were going to go to a school, that there would be more certified teachers, that there wouldn't be more vacancies. And in the end, when I really tracked those students, they ended up going to a school with the highest vacancy. So when I voted that years ago to repurpose Just, was with the intention that those students would have a better opportunity. And I don't think that necessarily happened. And so for me, I think about, as we look at the 5-year plan, I look at examples of in South Tampa at Robinson, we spent $58 million. ADAM K through 8, $63 million. Plant City, we're going to open something for $40 million. York, $51 million. Morgan, so expensive. We have to look at our community, and we asked the community, we brought it back to the community, and they spoke about it at Just. And unanimously, that community said, you know what? We want to rebuild this school. We want this community. And my intention is to spend and rebuild in the areas that are underserved the same way as we serve other schools. That underserved community, those students deserve the very best. They deserve the best school. They deserve a new playground and all of that. My second part is, as a school board member, my number one things is to represent and make sure every child gets a great education. But the other part is the financial part, because financially, I'm never going to see the support from the state of Florida, the Department of Education. The funding continues to lower, and we continue having to spend possible money with Schools of Hope and all sorts of things. So I have to look at what is the most important thing that we have. For my business background and my background in life, land is one of the most important assets that you can have. It is so valuable. That land on the river, people are so interested in. So to spend $70 million to secure almost $1 billion worth of property, that is a no-brainer. I mean, that should be the easiest decision that this board should make. They should look at that and saying, I'm investing in building a community in a great school, but that also secures $1 billion property that everybody wants on that river. And that's how we should be looking at. We should be looking at the future boards and saying, we secured that land, we secured that asset. There's no other asset bigger than that. Building several schools on a property that's worth $1 billion, that means our flagship is always going to be standing there, Hillsborough County Public Schools. And one day, if we do decide we want to sell it or we want to do something, people have to remember our payroll is $60 million every 2 weeks. So when you go to sell a school for $10 million, that's not even paying a week of payroll for Hillsborough County Public Schools. Think about it. Land is the most valuable asset. Let's make sure we let our community know that that land is going to be there for future generations to come, and that we're going to keep our most valuable asset. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. 6 months ago, this would have been a very different discussion. But at the end of the day, co-locating is real. It's at our back door. Legislators are going to have differences of opinions. They could be changing things. They may not be changing things. I've been very adamant along this whole process that at the end of the day, this should not be coming up today. This decision should not be coming up today. There is less we can prove that we're going to fill this school in 2 years, which we can't. We cannot guarantee that. Nothing along that river that's currently there, has been full. This is not just this year or next year or the year after. None of them has been full. Just as a Cambridge, as a performing arts, it was a STEM. We've tried so many things at Just Elementary. First of all, Cambridge costs us more money to run it than it does to provide the academics. We only get a reimbursement when it's in high school. So our middle schools and our elementaries, none of our 14 Cambridge middle schools have proven by data to show that when those students go from Cambridge and middle school, perform better in high school. I've asked for the data. We've got none. We've got none that show that those students are building on those curriculums, yet we're spending additional money on programs. If we do not fill that school and the legislature does not change the law, that means we're going to invest $80 million in the Just Stewart renovations to hand it over to another operator, and we're going to pay the expenses. And we're going to take more money away from our students. I cannot, in good conscience, agree to rebuild a school that I cannot guarantee our students are going to remain in, that the traditional students are going to remain in. I have to make sure that anything we build is going to benefit traditional public schools in Hillsborough County. And there is no guarantee of that right now. And I find it ironic that Member Gray is talking about things and programs that I was never aware of. Superintendent, that means that you never informed me of any kind of Cambridge or performing arts. So, I mean, I was never informed in those programs at Stewart. I was told that we're moving we're going to be building Dunbar Medical Magnet to Just. How are we doing that? How are we moving that? First of all, the Dunbar Middle Magnet actually feeds Sly. It has nothing to do with Blake. And that we're moving that Dunbar Middle Magnet so that we can put in early learning. But we have no commitment from the county that they're going to fill that school. So now I've got another opportunity. So this is all unplanned, inappropriate timing. Now, I would have agreed if you would have brought back the renovations and the needed for the students in that school, and you would have told me how we're going to reduce some of the building space to make sure those students can remain there, that you would have showed me how I'm going to put in air conditioning, I'm going to put a new roof, I'm going to reduce the space so that the 700 students can remain at Just and not have to co-locate. I'd be all in. I'd be all in to revitalize that school. But as it stands right now, I've got 600 seats at Just, and at Stewart that are not being utilized, and I've got another 500 seats at Just that are being underutilized. And I have no idea from a court case who's going to have the jurisdiction over that, because we already know that a proprietor has already put claim on those spots. Will they have priority over us? Why would I spend that kind of money to hand it over to a sub-operator and take away from our students? I just can't do that in good conscience. The other thing is, when I look at this, the capital community investment tax, when that was voted on, it can't be used for renovation. It can only be used for new builds. This is not a new build. This is a renovation. Just Stewart is not a rebuild. That's not a new build. You already and by the way, we already had this conversation, and I made you change the actual agreement with the county. The county made an amendment to have only new school builds. This is not a new school build. This is a rebuild. And we removed Just off of that. So half of this doesn't even make sense for me to vote on it appropriately. So again, this should not be bringing to us now. Thank you.
Member Vaughn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a lot of thoughts, but first of all, I want to ask some questions. Dunbar is an elementary school, not a middle magnet, right? Okay, I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure it wasn't a middle one. Okay. The other question I had was, we are significantly downgrading the student stations in this rebuild. Is that correct? So what's the downgrade going from?
Yeah, so in relation to Schools of Hope, this would reduce the seats in the Just Stewart by 700 seats. So if we're talking about Schools of Hope and co-location, this reduces the number of seats available to Schools of Hope operators to come in. And then, so that's the answer to that question, first off.
Okay, so we are thinking ahead of capacity, and we are reducing the size to try to meet that. And I agree that this is a challenging decision to make, and I think that this illustrates even more how detrimental these Schools of Hope are to our community. That we have 7 board members who are all agreeing that this is a great project. It's funny that we're talking about Schools of Hope because they're supposed to come in and help our persistently low performing schools, and we're trying to do that as a district, so Schools of Hope don't have to. And our biggest concern is whether or not these for-profit, private entities are going to come in and take over our schools as we try to do what's right for our community. I find that to be emblematic of how problematic these Schools of Hope are to all of our speakers who spoke earlier. I think that there has been so little investment in the urban core when we look at what's going on, and to see finally an investment in the urban core. And I'm not just talking about a program, as to Member Rendon's point, that we're throwing at it, an actual whole thoughtful redesign where we're looking at what that community is already utilizing by going to Dunbar, which isn't very far, and then reopening that. I mean, I had an opportunity, Shay, I don't know, who else you met with, but that plan that you presented to us, it's phenomenal. Like, whoever thought that out, I think is really good. It's been very thoughtful about how many families are in there and what that looks like. And I do think this might be an opportunity as we talk about Schools of Hope and co-location to look about just rebounding in general, right? Because there is a need for a middle school in that area. When we have Franklin and we have the other all-girls school, there's not a lot of middle schools necessarily when we look at maybe doing some thoughtful reboundaries. So I think there is an opportunity to just look at our community in general, but I do think that we do need a good hub in the urban core with exciting programs to talk about. Any decision that we make, we have another item coming up, and hopefully that item, we're going to have families busting that seems to go in there, but every single decision that we make is a gamble at this point. And so I think, I appreciate everybody's comments. I think it's a very hard time to make these decisions. Again, I think that speaks to the problems with this really fast, rushed bill of co-location and the chaos it's already causing within our community and school districts, and that's a bigger conversation. But I think this building design is beautiful. Again, I think you've been very thoughtful about the capacity and what it looks like. I feel very hopeful that we're going to have an opportunity to have a great, 2 campuses for that community. I personally know some people in Seminole Heights already who said that they're very interested in possibly looking at that school. Right now, many of them are choosing Williams middle magnet if they're not choosing the middle school that they're zoned for, and that's not that big of a drive for them. So I know that they're already excited about it. I think something that feeds into Blake will be a lovely transition to have 3 schools right there. And when we look at our communities, that's what they're asking for, right? They're looking for seamless transition between our elementary, middle, and high school, where it's all one community, and that's what we're building here. So I am excited about it. I understand the hesitancy of my fellow board members because it's hard making decisions right now. But I'm excited to support this item. and so is that, whatever, that was some excitement too. And I thank you for, all the hard, thoughtful work on this. This was a heavy lift, right? I mean, if we remember the meeting we had years ago, there were so many community members here who had opinions, and meeting with that community and hearing those voices, and then looking at what's coming, and then being thoughtful about the schools that we have. This is something, everything's a gamble right now, but this is something I'm really excited about, and I'm really excited to support. So thank you for all your hard work on this.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Washington.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm excited about it because this is something new and different that we haven't done before in an urban area. As you can remember, years ago, I opposed to closing Just, and the reason for opposing and closing Just at that time, I didn't feel that we had the right leadership there, because leadership has a lot to do with students coming to your school and running a school properly. And I look out there, I look at Shay, I look at Tracy, I look at Marcus, Rick, Gary, Owen, Marie, and Superintendent Ayers. We've been principals before. So we know the importance of having somebody in that school that can lead. That's important. I was just over there, 2 weeks ago. I went over there on the playground. They have a lot of kids over there in that complex. I mean, a lot of young kids. I mean, look like elementary kids. They were out playing, and because my mother-in-law lives over there, so I had an opportunity to go over there. And they kind of excited about a school coming, but they're not more excited than I am, because I think we can do it and make it work. And I spoke to Jerome Rhymes, and Jerome said, Sheikh, we have in this complex, we have anyway, I wrote it down, he said we have anyway from 485 kids to 500 students living in that complex area. Now, we talk about now, and they haven't even completed the rest of it. So they still in the process of building. Now, do I know all those students will come? No. But I do feel if we put the right leader there in that school, and that person can get out in that community, we can rock and roll. We know we have quite a few students coming from Dunbar, So I feel, we can't operate in fear. I mean, I don't know what the hope they'll do, but I don't like to operate in fear. Hey, let's get this show on the road. What's important to me, and I think family, because we hear families come down here all the time, people. They come down here all the time and they say, we need to keep our kids together. We got a chance to keep them together. Do you realize a kid could be in that community for 13 years? Because you go K-8, then you go to Blake. Some kids may go to Blake. That's 13 years you'll be in the community. A community builds citizens. And that's what I'm looking at as a board member. Because you go 13 years, you want to go to Blake, or whatever case may be, but you can do that. That's great. You think about it. It'd be great for a kid to go to one area for 13 years and never leave. And all of the work that they're doing in that area is so important. It's so important. And I'm kind of touched by it because this is something exciting. It's something different. We didn't give the kids an opportunity. We went there and said, let's shoot it, close it down, and we closed it down. And we really didn't have a great plan on that either. Because we took kids and sprinkled them in places, because we didn't put them all in one place. We sprinkled the kids around. And we thought that it would work, but it didn't, because you divided families. And we don't want to divide families. That's what parents say all the time when they come down. I want my kids want to be with their friends all the way through. Now you got a chance for 13 years to be with them. And maybe more than that if you go to college, if they go to the same university, Jim. So it's so important that we do this. And you know what? We're still going to use the same gym, the old Blake Yellow Jacket gym. We're still going to use the cafeteria it would be like liberty and what? It'd be like liberty and freedom. They use the same cafeteria. So cost cut down on that. That's so important. But the part I like the most about it is people are excited in that area. They're excited. So I'm behind it 100%, and ain't nothing could be said to change my mind. I'm behind it 100%. So thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. Damn, I was on time too, huh?
Thank you. Now you have 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yes.
That's it.
You give. Thank you, Member.
I ran the lap.
Thank you, Member Washington. So, for this board member, I noticed that when it comes to considerations of equity, efficiency, and long-term impact, it often reflects differently when priorities and values are given to certain members of society. I noticed this big conversation when it comes to what was known as West Tampa, now is known as West River. And there's a fight, but let us build somewhere else, Plant City, up, down 75 South, and there's cheering for those buildings and those schools. So let's walk a little bit of history. Previously, there was 433 apartments in around what was known as West Tampa, and another 670 units there. Today, they're in the process of completing 8,829 in areas known as Rome Yard, West River, and Encore, right? And so, in those units, they're looking for families. Those units include 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, and 5-bedroom apartments. And if anybody has walked those neighborhoods previously and now, you would see how big of an impact that building has had in that neighborhood. Because I have. See, my children went to Blake because they went to the performing arts, and Van Ayers was the teacher to both my children, and they graduated in the 2000s. And across the street, I used to be a DCF worker for students who were living in those impoverished apartments. So I'm very familiar with what that area looked like and what that area looks like today. Who has gone to Publix in that area right now? I have. It's amazing. I don't think anybody thought they would have a Publix that looked like that in that area ever. It's amazing. And those units are being occupied on an ongoing basis. So when I talk about equity, efficiency, and long-term impact, this area is seeing that today. And with that school, let me tell you, everyone in that area talks about how this school is going to bring an impact to that community. Just like in South County, Plant City, and anywhere else. This is going to be impactful to our families, to this community, and to the future of this area. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Perez. Member Vaughn? No, I always appreciate your bridge building. You always try and build a bridge. I appreciate it. You don't try and manipulate anybody's words, and you are so gracious when board members disagree or have a different perspective. Time and time again. So, this decision is not being made by me without regard to equity, first and foremost. This decision is not being made under the same circumstances as every other decision before it. York, Adam, whatever the decision was, Robinson. These are different circumstances that I spent 5 minutes explaining and laying out. And so it's a little bit lost on me that, the all of a sudden, the Hope conversation, the Hope co-location is not something that's at the forefront. But I will also say this, I absolutely agree with all your comments. I think we need to invest in that community. I think it would be a beautiful, 2 schools. I think the programming is, what you'd want for any child, even my own. I don't disagree with any of that. But I don't think I'm being fearful by not supporting this tonight. My perspective is I'm trying to be fiscally responsible. I have more hope, I'm more hopeful that we will get guidelines around the co-location bill, because I had conversations 2 weeks ago in Tallahassee with many legislators who are willing to talk about guidelines. So, no one is saying that this investment shouldn't be made, that, this neighborhood wouldn't be better off for this build, that, the land is valuable, that, we want to build schools in every part of our district for all kids, that we should be showing that. You all brought up incredibly important points that I agree with. I just want to wait till after session. That's the difference. It's not about equity. It's not about opportunity. It's not about land or selling it or keeping it. You're all right. This is, for me, it's about the timing. I've had so many conversations. Look, obviously I'm a smart lady. I can count the votes. I know it's going to pass by sitting here and listening to everyone's comments. So this is what I would ask to make me feel comfortable about, the enrollment numbers that you're assuming you're going to get. Sheikh had data that I wish you all would have looked into that data. He had great data around, who's living in the neighborhood. I don't think, though, that it should be put on the backs of a principal to, drive student enrollment. I think that's a lot to ask, especially if you're opening new school. I do think, and I want to see, by the time we put a shovel in the ground, an enrollment campaign that you all create. I want to see hard data from the community on the new builds, how many families are, I know you have that, I know you can work with the county commission to get it, on how many families are living there. I want to see a survey of Dunbar families, how many are interested in going to Just. I don't care if you have to have a team out there knocking doors and telling families we're going to build a new school. Would you send your child there? Yes or no? Just like people do during campaigns. You door knock and you have a conversation. And, y'all need to get some really good sneakers and t-shirt, Hillsborough Strong, and get out there and knock some doors, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, get city council in there. But, I do think that is very important, because if you don't have that and something does happen with co-location, that's your fault. So, you need to be prepared and you need to be 10 steps ahead. I'm still not going to support this or the other school on principle. I think we should wait 3-4 months or, whenever the session ends, special whatever. But am I out of time? I'm sorry. Can't see. I don't have my glasses on. So anyway, I just wanted to follow up with that to make sure it was really clear where I stood, because it can get very convoluted with all the comments.
Thank you, Member Hunt. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could we have some clarity on exactly, we're hearing a lot of different things. So may we get some clarity on what's happening, who's moving from Dunbar, what is Just, and what is Stewart? Because I keep hearing that we're going to be able to stay at all the schools, yet they're not all the same. Right now, Stewart is a STEM magnet that handles aerospace, no performing arts. We have Dunbar that's already a metal magnet that supports SLY. If we're going to change that to a performing arts, how is SLY going to be fed? So can I have some clarification on exactly what your intentions is?
Absolutely, and I'll start, and team, feel free to jump in if I miss anything. So in our school district right now, there are 0 Cambridge primary programs. We have none.
Which don't make any money,
right,
but yep,
right.
Gotcha.
We have no primary programs. However, we do have some lower secondary programs. We have 9. Those are our middle schools that we currently have. So in this particular scenario, the Dunbar building that we have now, which is local, everybody knows where Dunbar is, that those students that are in that building, that whole program, everything would move over to a brand new building over there at the Just, that new construction at Just. All of Dunbar Medical Magnet would move over. In addition to the Dunbar Medical Magnet, you'd also have the opportunity for students for the Cambridge primary. So there's only, if you look at available seats, we're not adding 700 seats. We're removing the seats from Dunbar that would move over to the Just campus. Stewart renovation, Stewart still keeps the same program it has, but would in this proposal would also add the Cambridge Lower Secondary to Stewart. Dunbar, the building where currently lists Dunbar, which is a very successful medical magnet in our West Tampa community, has been for a long time. We've seen him here at board meetings receiving awards for the medical magnet. Those programs would just move over to the new Just. The Dunbar building that currently sits, that's a decision that the board could make at any point in time what we want to do with that. Proposals around early learning with Hillsborough County. We could, take that building that's listed there now. We could demolish that building. That building, just for the record, that building at Dunbar was built in 1926 and a wing was added in 1960. So that building, what's happening in this particular scenario, the students that are currently at Dunbar in 2 and 3 years, in 28 when that opens up over there, they're getting a brand new facility where they currently sit at. And this is a program with our medical magnets. It's been extremely successful. 300 to 350 of those students would move over to Just with an approximate, I think, 200 seats that would still be available, right? And those would be available to students in the community. We could expand the Dunbar Medical Magnet, could be expanded, and within that, you've also got the ability to add to that Cambridge primary. So that's
Okay, so I want to make sure we're clear on that because, again, we heard performing arts, we heard the transition. If I remember, and I need to make sure I'm quoting on this, we had, as of last year, 14 Cambridge programs. Now I'm hearing we have 9 in our middle schools. Are we have less?
Yeah,
No, there's none in elementary until now.
Right. No elementary programs, no primary programs, 9 lower secondary programs.
But we had 14
Well,
previously.
14, I think you might be referring to that we did half the high schools first. So, okay. So it was 9, there's 9 lower secondary.
So I was told we had 14 last year.
I can give you the
Rogers and some other
Oh,
ones.
it's Franklin, Farrell, Rogers, Shields, Liberty, Smith, Benito, Madison, and Eisenhower.
And none previously.
No, I mean, these have been since 22, 23. They've
Okay.
come on, yes.
Because I was told 14, so I want to make sure we're clear. And I was also told that none of the Cambridge programs actually are reimbursable. So it's an additional cost to those schools to run them. Yeah, you're shaking your head, but they have additional. The only way we're paying for them in high schools is because we get the add-on money to be able to pay that. So I just want to make sure I'm not disagreeing with Cambridge. I love Cambridge and what it's doing. It's opening up minds. It's critical thinking. It's phenomenal. But I need us to understand that we're looking to fill seats, and it's an additional cost than a general student station.
So it would be the cost would be certification. Again, there were never 14. The 14 were the high schools, and again, we expanded. Okay, so 9 has been the number. It wasn't always 9. We've built up to 9. When you say reimbursable, to me that would refer to testing and getting multiplied FTE because of passing an IB test, a certification, an ACE. So that doesn't happen at the primary or lower secondary level. It would be more about the students being exposed to the learner attributes, responsibilities, reflection, those types of things that prepare them for the coursework that they'll get at the high school level.
And we're Cambridge. So just to add to that, I'm sorry, Member Rendon. So just to add to that, we're a Cambridge school district. This board has been very clear on the direction with Cambridge. But what Mr. Brady, you're referring to as well, this board and yourself fought extremely hard to ensure that accelerated funding, that weighted, that continued. And there was some talk about in the legislature last year about removing that. We spoke up. You were a big part of that. That accelerated funding, those are the fundings we use to fund the middle school and the elementary. So this Just would be the first primary Cambridge, and we can look, if an appetite of the board to add some other Cambridge. The cost there, to your point though, the cost would be around teacher training. So when we professional development for teachers around Cambridge, that would be the cost. The same we do anything, and I think an investment in teacher training and teacher professional development is always one of the most important investments that we can make.
So I want to make it clear because all of that sounds wonderful. However, when we look at the cost of running our schools, and when I've spoken to academic services, and I've specifically spoken about IB, Cambridge, when we get down to our middle school and high school, elementary school levels, although great programs, I don't have anyone in our financial services that can tell me what it's individually costing per school. So we're making good judgments on number of students that are going into these programs. Are we doing that? Is our reward for the students benefiting the cost that we're utilizing not for another program? We don't have those answers. And I need that to be understood, that we, when asked, I've asked multiple times for the cost of the program in the school, the cost per student station, what makes one magnet school cost different than the other. We've not, from a financial situation, been able to provide that to the board. So for us to make these decisions, I hear you about bringing opportunity to that community, but if we're removing 600 student stations, we're not bringing a new opportunity. If they're removing them and bringing them to 700, we're not bringing a new opportunity. There's 600 seats waiting right now that we could be doing. So we're not talking about bringing a new community and opportunity. I am all for equity in our schools. But let's make it very clear, our schools are not equitable right now. We don't offer all programs across all elementary schools to all middle schools. So I want to make it very clear, I am 100% behind equity. But don't sit here and say we're being equitable when we don't provide the same opportunity to all students. If we did, fine, but we're not. And I jeopardize those 700 students by not getting clarification before we vote on this. I said this in my first comments. If you would have brought me an opportunity to make it a better school for the students, I'm in. But you brought me an opportunity that financially doesn't even meet the CIT standards anymore. I hear what you're going to say, but we've already talked to board members. I sat in that board meeting. It does not meet the standards of a new school. They only put on there the new school. And I'm telling you, we're going to come back at this.
Can I just respond to it? You are correct. For the CIT tax that begins in November 2026. We are funding this with a CIT tax that is collected now, which we can use for that. You are not incorrect. But this tax that we are currently on, the one that voted by the Board of County Commissioners, begins in January of 27. This is the one that we're using, that's currently in place right now. We're using those funds to fund this $30 million.
Okay, I don't know if Jim or Jeff want to answer this question right now. Based upon current law, who has jurisdiction on this property right now if co-locating law does not change? Do we have that answer?
Well,
I think the answer is no. I just need to know if we have a legal opinion on who takes precedent on that property.
Well, we'd be happy to look at that, but we own the property, correct? Yeah, and the co-location would still apply, but we still have jurisdiction over the property.
But that means co-location right now, according to the law, would supersede what we want to do?
I don't think you can answer the question the way that you want to have it answered.
No, I think the answer is we don't know.
No, the answer is we own the property. If it turns out that there are student stations available and the new law would impact that, then we would have to address it like we're dealing with all the other ones. But trying to answer it in a vacuum is impossible. But we own the property. We have the right to do with it. Now, let me finish. And then if it turns out that there are empty student stations and that co-location is going to be needed, we would have to address that just like we would have to address every other school that they're looking at.
I'm not asking to sell the property. Let's make that very clear. My concern is the investment we're going to put in this financially could not be benefiting our students at the end of the day. And unless we've got an answer on whether or not they've already said, based upon their legal ability right now, that they intend to co-locate, if we don't have a legal realm that says that space, we have priority over it, that's my concern.
And I appreciate all these comments that our board members, we've had these discussions, we've had long discussions about this, so none of this is new information. I would want to add to, I keep hearing about co-location with this particular agenda item with Justin Stewart. I received 22 notices Justin Stewart, not that it couldn't happen in the future, which I agree, but currently right now, the 22 notices that I've received from a current School of Hope operator, Just, Stewart, nor the middle school, which isn't obviously built yet, none of those are identified in that School of Hope request. So we keep bringing up Schools of Hope, but please know for the record, Just Stewart, in the 22 that we received, Justin Stewart were not part of co-location. Now with that, we've been working, and I want the public to know this team, our team has been very aggressive around Schools of Hope and our opportunities. Once we have plans for schools, I sent denials out today. We had received for Somerset Academy. I sent those denials out just this afternoon. We requested extension for Matter Academy, again, for the other 22, not schools that are on this particular agenda item listed here. But there is a process that we go through with Schools of Hope, and I want the public to know that this team, our legal team, we will be very, we take this very seriously, and there is this thing within there called material impracticability, and that is something we'll look at. If we have good use for our schools, that is the action that we will take to ensure that those schools remain in the hands of HCPS.
I'm going to take a moment to go into our employee and student comment. We will now take the employee and student.
Chair, if you have the right to do that, or you can finish this.
Yeah, because we only have two employees, and I don't want to hold them in the middle of all this.
Yeah.
You can. Okay. All right. Member Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate this conversation. I have a new news bulletin here. One of the assets of this plan, which is expansive and very meaningful with the West River area, and this goes to Member Perez's point, over 1,800 units will be in this particular piece of land. With those units, now this is important, we have affordable housing. And if you remember in this, Superintendent Van Ares, we talked to the mayor about affordable housing for teachers. So now we're looking at possibilities of teachers having an amenity of a cost that might be more affordable. Now I said 100, but really we're looking at 188. You have boulevards of West River, and you have the canopy of West River. So I'm looking at this as Member Washington and Member Hahn and every one of the members mentioned so many assets. What a great opportunity that we might have with the affordable housing. So I just wanted to throw that in there, and I conclude my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Perez. So 1,800 units that you got to knock on. You got to find out if they have kids living there, because they may not, right? So you got to knock on those doors. You really think that if you build 2 new schools there, you're not going to get a letter? You're going to get a letter. I'm just saying. Like, I know you haven't gotten a letter because they're old schools. They need a lot of work. But any shiny new school, you're going to get a letter. So I'm just saying, you're going to get a letter. Thanks.
The door knocking campaign should solve that problem, Dr.
That's right.
Door knocking campaign.
They'll be full.
I'll help you.
And it's not 1,800, it's 8,829.
Oh, that's a lot more doors. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Member Gray? Okay.
I think we're done.
That's it? Okay. See no further comment, please vote when your lights appear. And it.
Well, okay.
Wow.
If you could, okay. Wait, hold on. This is the record. So I assume you intended to vote differently. Pablo, could you please clear the board so that they could be voted again?
Even more drama.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
You guys got to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just was like, I was waiting for the blink and not looking at
And the vote passes with Member Rendon and Member Hahn descending from the vote.
Ric Flair said, woo!
Now, we will hear. Now I got to find it.
Send you all birthday cards.
Yeah. I gotta find it.
Oh, but we're going to do
Yeah. Now we will take employee comment and student input. Even though we hear public comment at the beginning of the meeting, it's sometimes difficult for employees and students of our district to attend meetings at 4 p.m. There may be ways for employees and students to make their voices heard, including through union representatives, emails, phone calls, and one-on-one conversations, and public comment at the beginning of the meeting. The board wants to hear from you. With this section of our agenda, we are creating another avenue for employees and students to speak to the board. We are setting aside 30 minutes for employees of the district to speak to the board about any issues that are on your mind. This is not intended to be a discussion about specific agenda items on tonight's agenda, but rather an opportunity for you to speak to the board about any issues related to your job or the district. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. I will now call the first 3 speakers.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Rob Creed, president of CTA. I got Regina Gambrell, our VP from CTA tonight. And we are here to just thank you guys for the recognition of the support professionals. I just want to say that, I often talk glowingly about the work that we do at our sites. Teachers and administrators cannot do the great work that they do without the support professionals that help connect the dots for all of us. They're amazing at what they do, and we appreciate your recognition of them. Regina actually was one of the great data processors here at, what were you at, Sefner? Nope, sorry, you were at Sulphur Springs, K8.
Yes, I was a parent liaison and data processor over at Sulphur Springs K8 Community Partnership School. I'm sorry.
You should get me. You should have it right. Go get him, Regina. Tell us about it.
Okay. No, I just wanted to also thank you guys for the recognition as well as the history, Dr. Hahn, that you gave about American Education Week and National ESP Day. It was always one of the favorite weeks of mine. Not only is because it's the week before Thanksgiving break, but we had a chance to celebrate all of the educators at our school, get our parents engaged, community and businesses through Great American Teaching, and then always showing our appreciation for substitutes that come out of their homes to help our students when we may fall short in our school. Tomorrow on National ESP Day, I just want to ask everyone in the room and everyone watching to honor and show love to our ESPs across the district and continue to join us in advocating for ESPs. And when I say across the district, not only do I mean in our school sites, those who run our cafeterias, custodians, bus drivers, but I have to include all of my fellow colleagues that have been promoted, right? Over at ISC and right here in this building. So just recognizing them as well. Lastly, thanking all of the ESPs for everything that they do to keep our schools running and students thriving. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes. Thank you. That's it? Okay. Now we will list here item 713, guaranteed maximum price for middle school VV. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 713, another GMP. This board item requires approval of the GMP for middle school VV. We propose to provide a new 1,631 student station middle school needed in the South County area. The need is due to growth occurring in the South County area. The problem will be resolved by providing a new facility to help the district meet the needs of this growing community, and that is 713.
I need a motion and a second to approve item C 713. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Combs. Member Rendon, Member Gray, and Member Combs, you pull this item. You have any questions or comments? Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. this is not any surprise to members of the cabinet and other members in the audience here. There's a huge need for a new school out there. However, with that being said, the change of the need out there has dramatically changed. We had at one time, we had Shields Middle School with more students, right? At this very time, we have 7 charter schools within a 10-mile radius of Aquila J. Morgan High School. I'm on the same page as I was for the previous school. When we have to make decisions moving forward right now until the end of this legislation, and I agreed, I wanted this moved on to before, after legislation. I asked the superintendent to do the same, make sure we had clarity, but that's not what's happened. So now we're here. And so I believe whatever we're going to invest in, whatever we're going to build, we have to fill within 2 years. Now, I recognize that there's a ton of growth out there, and there was a ton of growth before, but we're late to the ballgame. We are late to the ballgame. They've already built 3 charters while we've been waiting, and students have been sitting in portables for years before we're now getting ready to build this school. So at this point in time, the only way I would agree to this is if we did a K-8. Patty Rendon's not a fan of K-8s. I'm not. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. But I can fill a K-8 in 2 years. At the end of the day, it's the most fiscally responsible thing to do to make sure all of our student stations are filled. Now, if I see the legislation come differently at the end, I may be voting differently on this. But at this point in time, it's irresponsible for me to make a decision when I can't guarantee to fill this school in 2 years. Adem is currently not full. Is that because we don't allow it to be filled, or because it's not it's full now? But at the end of the day, we have to make sure we can fill this school. And you have not proven that anywhere in Southeast County can you fill a middle or an elementary school. Can't do it. So why would we not build what we know we can fill? And so, again, I'm on the same train. I hear my board members that say, I can't predict what's the weather tomorrow, but right now the law is not in our favor. And I don't see this legislation completely repealing that law. So then I don't know what it will look like, and I have to secure the funding that I'm putting into students. I can't take the chance that I'm going to put funding into people we're not serving. It would be irresponsible for me to do that. And it doesn't matter. We had one of our other fellow board members talk about Plant City or South County. I'm going to have the same feelings about this, whether it's in Plant City or South County or in our inner cities. We've got to be equitable across the board. I'm 100% behind that. So for me, this is a no vote right now. I've asked you to bring it back as a K-8 because I know we can fill it within 2 years. Every single time we've done it, we've filled it. But you've chosen not to do that. And so at the end of the day, we know they're expanding the urban core. You could build a K-8 now and build another K-8 when you build another high school and that urban core is expanded. But we've lost so many students in that area because you've postponed this. They're not just going to come back because we made something shiny. It's not going to happen. They're committed to the other K-8s. Every one of those charters are K-8s. Every single one of them. And so we can't guarantee to fill this place. And if you want to bring back the numbers like Dr. Hahn says and you want to knock on those doors, promise me they're all going to come to that school, I'm all in. But that's not the data you've got. You've only got the builds. And we already know I got 600 seats sitting at Stewart that's not filled with already the thousands that have been built. And I already know that I had Shields that was sitting there with 2,000 students waiting for us to build, and they're now going to K-8s. So until we've got something that I know I can fill in 2 years, I can't approve this. And that hurts me because that hurts my area that that vote for me. So again, I feel we are not being fiscally responsible by not making this a K-8 from the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Combs?
Thank you. You know, I have to trust that, you know, and I do. I really trust Mr. Farkas. I talk about him often. I feel like he does so much. He's so bright, really looks at things on so many. I can ask him any question, and most of the time, if he doesn't know the answer, I'll get it by the end of the day. I have to trust that Mr. Farkas, with all the years of experience that he has, and all the years of experience that I keep telling him, you have to find someone to go underneath you because you have all that knowledge. I have to trust that him, the County and Planning Commission, the tracking development, the long range planning for all those years, I have to trust that they're looking at what we need and those demands, not on my instinct, but based on all of that research. I have to trust that. I can't say, oh, I feel like this is going to happen, or, I can tell you that there's areas in my community that's growing, but I can't look at that. Those are all feelings. I have to look at the actual facts, and I have to believe that, and I do trust in what you believe in and what you say. The other thing is, I can't live in fear. I can't live in fear because of the Department of Education. I remember years ago when I first got elected, and we pushed back on some of the charter schools that we thought weren't very strong. There are so many great charter schools, but a few of them that weren't that strong. Guess what? They changed the renewal from 5 years to 15 years. The one thing I can't do is keep living my life with fear and not speaking out against the things that are wrong. 100% co-location is wrong. What we need to do is keep talking about it so people understand what's happening. But what I'm not going to do is stop building or start growing because of the fear of what's happening for the Department of Education. I will put up any charter school, any private school against Hillsborough County Public Schools. We have amazing teachers, we have amazing curriculum, and it drives students back. After a while, many students leave those schools and come back to Hillsborough County Public Schools because it's a new school. Great teachers want to go to a new school. So many administrators want to go there. I mean, I remember when Roland Park, which is an amazing school, when ADEM opened, they took the administrator, they took key people. So I know that no matter what we build, I know that people will come and it will be full, but I cannot live in fear. And I trust you that if you say it's a middle school that we need out there, then I'm going to trust that. I'm going to support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Washington?
Okay, so you know my thought process have not changed, and I heard Ms. Combs say we have trust in your cabinet. We have trust in the superintendent. When you make decisions, we have to trust you because we don't know. We don't know 100% what it is, but I trust you all when you tell me something is the way it's supposed to be. And I can go back over some years when the community lost trust in us. They lost trust in us because we were supposed to build Meacham, Christina Meacham, and we never did. And we told people we were going to do that. So there comes a time where we got to keep our word. And this is the time to rebuild that trust because we have a whole lot of people out there who wants that to be a K-8. A lot of backing from West Tampa, from that area. And we're talking about Stewart. A lot of people. And a lot of people feel that we should do that to help kids, to help students. Because I think they have like 1,023 students or something are coming in that area from somewhere else, which is going to be a help. But we don't know. But I can tell you, when you do something to draw kids, we may have to knock on doors. I don't mind going out knocking on doors, Miss Hahn. I really don't. Let's get me good exercise. But I really feel we need to do this. And my answer is going to be yes, because we're building a community. We got to build that community back up. And it's not going to be the same now. It's not going to be the same. I think people sometimes thinking things going to be why mama with the same. Yeah, because their families is out there too. Their family comes up and say we need to keep the kids in the same area. They come up to, and I kind of understand that because being a minority and being moved all the time, because every time there was movement, we had to move. And now, the people out there in that area, they want to keep their families together also. And I understand. It's important to keep kids together. They said that, you remember some years, Mr. Farkas, when we opened Sulphur Springs? I was the area director then. And people say, no, those kids need to get out. They need to get out to other parts of the city. You recall that? They said, because that's not going to be successful. And now they love it, Sulphur Springs. So I believe in giving everybody an equal opportunity for their kids to be reared up together. So that's my conversation for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the first point, which seems to be a very steady point, when we talk about co-location, it's still evolving. In fact, when we were in Tallahassee, at least the group that I was with, we absolutely discussed this situation of co-location. And in every case, those senators and legislative representatives, House representatives, they have not gotten the details. There's no definite movement as to what's next and how it's going to be done. So, what I think about that whole situation, it's evolving, and we can't just say no to every project because of what if and what may happen. So I think there's still a lot of possibilities in collaboration as the details come out, and I'm hopeful that that will happen. Secondly, when we started the middle schools, that was Mary Ellen Elia, there were conversations, are they any better than we had to combine the 7th grade centers, and we wanted everything to be more holistic and compact, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Well, long story short, that was the solution, and Dr. Whalen, you probably remember those days, and I know Superintendent Van Ayers. We knew that there are benefits to keep kids together within the same age group. However, the K through 8 now, fast forward, what we did is we have schools such as Bowers and Barrington. The elementary and the middle are right next to each other, and then you have a corridor. Same thing that's going to happen with Morgan. They're going to have a corridor, a walkway to the elementary. So, K through 8, it's a magic, yes, Dobie, and I can give you a lot of examples, Ballast Point, they all want K through 8. However, when you have the schools in proximity that you walk right over, then the argument is, what kind of quality education happens in a separate middle school? Well, I'll tell you, it's more content. I taught in middle and elementary school. It's more content focused, keeps kids relatively in the same age group, a lot of peer involvement. And then in elementary school, the biggest focus, as we see with upcoming, perhaps Dunbar, pre-education, we spent more human resources on early learning reading and much more there in the 1st and 2nd grade than we did in the 4th and 5th grade. So, what I'm saying is there's advantages to each one, disadvantages to each one. So, but when you have a regular walkway where one hooks to the other, I don't know where the argument is. So, are people going to be running down the streets? I can't remember that. Lake Boulevard? Is that, Mr. Farkas, what's the name of that road that goes right to Morgan?
You know everything. Westlake Boulevard.
Yeah, I told you. I mean, everyone says you know everything, and now that proves it.
My wife disagrees.
But, the fact is, we can go on and on about K through 8 versus elementary, middle school, and and the advantages and disadvantages. That gets us really nowhere. And we can go on and on about co-location, but that's still being discussed on the finer details. So we're still not going to go anywhere. So let's just put the whole damn district on stop and let's don't go anywhere. I disagree with that, and I'm more inclined to be with Member Combs and Member Washington on progressing the very thing that will further quality education. Charter schools in that area, I'm very familiar with that area. I don't live but 25 minutes, and Member Rendon also. And I'm down there very frequently, and Shay McCray knows I almost lived at Shields because we had a lot of challenges, and we put the portables. So the familiarity in that area and growth with Enterprising Latinas and other entities, that place is growing to a significant amount of homes that never has been, I've never seen anything like it. And anyway, so as far as student population, we're going to have a lot of kids that will want to go to that middle school. And that concludes my remarks, and I am for this particular agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Jessica Vaughn does like K-8s, and not because I love K-8s, but because that seems to be what our community wants over and over again. You know, so I am curious why we didn't. What was the thought process? Because before I knew what any of this conversation was going to be, my question is how we looked at building a K-8 and why or why not. So what's the thought process by choosing not to do that? Because the concerns with K-8s is we're fitting them into buildings that were not designed for them, so we can't build those facilities. But we see with ADEM that if you're thoughtful about it and you design it beforehand, parents don't have to sacrifice those things and they can still get the model that they're going to choose. So all-knowing, genius, amazing, Mr. Farkas, the Oracle, please tell me why this decision was made.
Never living down this meeting. When I retire, I want to play this back to myself. Actually, it's a really good question, and Ms. Renan's not wrong. If we were looking for a 2-year solution, if we're looking to pack it up and fill this school up in 2 years, a K-8 would probably be the reasoning. Our goal, and I think one of the reasons that a lot of our schools, a lot of our students in the south part of the county left, was because Shields is overcrowded. We have 30 portables at Shields. And that's a huge problem to have. So we take those out, obviously those student stations go with it. But here's the concern. We're gonna have over 1,000 students from Shields that'll be assigned to the new middle school. We have the next 2 years, 2.5 years, we're gonna have over 300 kids that are there in growth. Now, how many of those kids are gonna go? We call it popularity or stay rate. Shields' stay rate is not as high as it needs to be. In fact, it's one of the lower ones in the district. For good reason. Some people don't want their 6th graders in portables, and that's part of it. So we've got to build something that they're going to come to, that they feel comfortable with. We also have data to look at new builds. What happens when we build a new school? What does that popularity rate do? Sumner High School is down there in the southern part of the county in that area. York, K-8, the things that we built, regardless of level of what we have, even Belmont, have the popularity rate versus that new school versus the surrounding schools that fed it is much higher. So 10 to 15 points higher in that part too. So even if not all the kids go there, even if the percentage point's still the same, we will not have enough middle school seats in the next 3 years if we build a K-8, because you have to build a K-8 that has a real boundary. And so you think that kindergarten through 5th grade is 6 years of grades, middle school is just 3 years of grades. That elementary boundaries are much smaller than a middle school boundary. So if we try to have, there will not be enough middle school seats for the 1,300 middle school students that will be there in the next 2 years if we build a K-8, because K-8's middle school seats will not have that many seats. In fact, the only one that does really is Turner Bartels, and that's because it wasn't built as a K-8. Exactly.
But that's because of the idea of we're consolidating a school building. If you knowingly design it, can't you make one that could have a larger capacity for middle school and also service an elementary school to attract our families?
Great question. So it wouldn't be a true K-8 because you couldn't keep the same boundary. The number of K through 5 students, because there's 6 grade levels, if you've got 150 kids per grade level, that's going to equal that 900 is there. You won't have as many middle school kids that you can seed in that same area. That's why elementary schools, traditionally the boundary is much smaller. Middle school comes from a much larger group because you need more middle school kids because there's only 3 grades in there.
But we do have schools where there's a zoned elementary piece and then the middle school is choice or vice versa. So we could create different boundaries, as in Turner Bartels, where the middle school kids come that were not part of the elementary school. So we could zone it to meet the needs of that population.
We could most surely do that. It just wouldn't be a K. They're supposed to be going K through 8 in theory to do that, so it wouldn't be a true K. But yes,
that means a lot of our schools aren't true K-8s.
And most of the ones that are, most of them are actually. There's only a couple that aren't, and they actually go through that same, which is why we only have 300 seats, 300 to 400 seats in most of our K-8s in the middle school section that we have. That's
I mean, if the parents choice into them and meet the, but some of them, it's not a true K-8 because it's a full choice program.
Correct, but many of them stay. If you look at, especially the ones we've just done, Lutz, Maniscalco, Apollo Beach, the ones that go through it, they are true K-8s, meaning that they stay there from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. There's very few kids that choice in 6th grade. In this scenario, if we were going to house the 1,000 to 1,500 kids we needed in the middle school, you'd have a huge portion that could do that. Again, if it's the board's will, we 100% can go back to the drawing board and redesign that. I just think that we're going to run into the same problem we had down there with middle school seats. We don't have enough middle school seats.
Do we have enough property on that land to build it as a K-8 now? If that becomes the situation where we have more middle school, then we could also build an additional elementary school on that land down the road?
So that was the plan originally. The plan originally for that 100-acre site was to do a high school in the back, do a middle school that we're building right now, and then do an elementary school right next to it. So it'd be one campus that they'd have share some of those same buildings, the air conditioning system, things like that. They'd all, kind of share because there's economy of scale and saves us money. So yes, there's another space right next to it that's about 12 acres, which would fit the elementary school, or is planned to fit the elementary school.
So if we were going to build the elementary school anyway, we could bring it as a K-8 now. Once that elementary school is built in a couple years, rezone it and attract the families there who are already invested, who then may go to elementary school. My question, I guess, would be, with this information, and I appreciate it, if we vote no on this and this doesn't pass tonight, are you willing to bring it back as a K-8?
With the will of the board, if the will of the board is for a K-8, then absolutely we would do that.
Okay.
But I think one thing, and Mr. Parker, tell me if I'm wrong, the need for a middle school in the long-range study, I think it's important that we all hear this, the long-range study, the plan for elementary seats out there was not until, I think, 2032. So if you did build a K-8, and going back to the conversation about co-location, which has been a big important part today, if you build a K-8 now, where do you think those elementary kids are going to come from? They're going to come from Ruskin, they're going to come from Waimama, missing any others? Which in turn, Belmont, which has the possibility of then opening seats in those particular elementary schools. And that's why the decision was made to build the middle school now, because elementary seats are not needed until later. So if we keep the same theory and argument around co-location, we need to minimize seats, because if we build a K-8, Ruskin's going to be open, Waimama's going to be open, Belmont has the possibility of being open. So I just want to make sure, if we make the argument we made earlier, the same philosophy we're utilizing here to not have all these open seats. If we open a K-8, you will have open seats in 2 years in Ruskin and Waimama. Correct?
But you're confident building this new K-8, the new middle school, it will be filled without any concerns about co-location as well?
I've got total concerns of co-location. I would never say that out loud. But that being said,
again, we're back to the co-location is haunting us regardless of the decision.
In 2 years, we'll have over 1,300 students that are assigned to this middle school. In 2 years, and that's just with the growth that we have right now that is assigned. How many kids go there is a different part of the conversation.
And how many competing charter schools do they have in that area?
A bunch, but again, we have to go on our own history. And I know, not being the rah-rah cheerleader person, but when we build a new school, whether it's York or whatever the case may be, kids come to our school, whether they're in charter or not. If you look at the York population, we first opened
York's
York.
K-8.
It is, but you're exactly right. Morgan is not. Belmont is not.
Okay.
Okay, Belmont's an elementary school that's completely full and has been full.
Okay.
So new schools attract kids just like they do at charter schools, the same part of it too. Again, the will of the board, we, from a growth management and planning standpoint, believe that middle school seats are needed if we're trying to fight and be the most competitive thing in the market out there in the southern part of the county. We haven't built a middle school in the southern part of the county with all that growth in over 15 years. K-8s are something people like. It just doesn't give us as many middle school seats as what we need. So we're not going to be able to relieve Shields in the way that Ms. Fisher and that Shields community, I think, needs.
And I would just add to that, all this conversation is great conversation, because there's nobody in this room can predict what things are going to be like 2 and 3 years down the road, and that's where it becomes growth management and Mr. Farkas's team. It's incredibly difficult to predict growth, where growth's going to be. We do our best. We have long-range planning studies. His team does a phenomenal job. So the recommendation tonight from that team and myself is the middle school. If the will of the board is to do something a little bit different, obviously we go back to the drawing board, but I would just go back to the reason I placed it on the agenda is if you look and make that argument around co-location, by adding that K-8, you will open up elementary seats at sites, which opens up room for operatives, which we talked about in an earlier conversation. So recommendation from the team, myself, is the middle school. However, if the board wants to go in a different direction, we're open to that. Recommendation, though, is the middle.
And I have one last question. Is it possible, if we approve this tonight, affordability wise, because I'm not sure why 2030 is identified as opening up that elementary school. Is it possible to do that more quickly, or is that when you're expecting the growth that's not going to take away from the other elementary
It's a
schools?
combination of things. It's funding, and it's what we talked about a little bit more. We do not have adequate funding. On your agenda a little bit later in your information item talks about a long-range planning study and the impact fee conversation. So funding is going to be a big part of that too. It's not just growth.
Are you not concerned in 2030 you're going to take the same student population away from the other schools that you're referring to tonight?
No, because I believe we'll have more growth during that time. We need to worry about where they're coming from, because the population is changing. You've got and we see it now from our core schools, a lot of Mr. Washington schools. The population's shifting. Lots of it, all socioeconomic statuses, which is why we see some of our schools in our core that are lower, but our suburbs are still busting at the seams, a lot of those.
Okay, thank you for answering my questions, all-knowing Mr. Farkas.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Hunt?
Okay, I'm not going to participate in the ego stroke. I think it's been enough for tonight, Mr. Farkas. Member Rendon, I know this has got to be a very difficult decision for the reason you stated. This is your community. I defer to your knowledge about the growth and the needs. And I don't think those of us who are wanting to be more cautious or operating in fear, I think we're really hyper focused on the operating and fiscal efficiency in a very responsible way. And again, for me, it's the timing of this. I think Member Gray is right when she's saying this is an evolving conversation that's happening in Tallahassee. We're not saying no. We're not saying stop everything in the district. That's very dramatic. We're not doing that. We're just saying slow down. You know that saying slow your roll? Like this is perfect for that. Like slow your roll, slow it down. Be thoughtful, be cautious. I'm a fan of K-8s. I like K-8s. I think that when we redo our strategic plan, that should be a really big part of the discussion because, and I really appreciate the questions that Member Vaughn asked and the conversation. K-8s are expensive in their own way to operate. I think it would be interesting to explore a K-8 on this property. I know that, the elementary schools down the road. I also understand the need for middle school seats. Didn't realize how many new charters had opened, the charters are expanding down there. I am concerned that this school is going to open. I'm going to go back to my remarks that I even said around Justin Stewart. New schools do not open at capacity. They just don't. And that's nothing wrong that we're doing. They don't. It takes time. The 6th and 7th grade will be the biggest classes. And then as they matriculate into 7th and 8th grade, the school will fill up and it will take 2 years. But again, my concern is, well, what's going to happen in the next few months with co-location? And, are we going to be building a school to just share? That's, a big expense, And maybe if things did not change around the co-location bill, then in a few months when this came, we would be maybe reimagining this whole thing in a different way, still building a school that's desperately needed in that area. No doubt, I want to build a school down there. But it may look very different than it does tonight if nothing changes around co-location. So I'm not being fearful. I'm slowing my roll. And I'm being very fiscally aware of the impact that the decisions we're making tonight will have. You can't go fast and furious over here and then it doesn't work out and then you're screaming at the legislature because they didn't change anything. Well, you made those decisions knowing things might not change. So that's on the board. And we're all the board. So it's, they're not going to separate us. We're all in this together at the end of the day, We all own the vote, no matter where we land on the vote. So, so that's my position. It hasn't changed from, the last conversation. I'm just trying to be super cautious here. I mean, that's just my personality. I'm a very cautious, strategically driven individual and big picture individual. So, so that's my perspective, and that's why I'm not supporting this tonight. Not saying it's not needed, not saying it shouldn't be built, but the timing just isn't right for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Rind.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to make sure we're clear on this. You said we're going to move 1,000 students from Shields. How many students are at Shields today?
No, we're moving 1,000 assigned students, not kids that are at Shields. We have 1,000 kids that are assigning to it. So the number of kids that'll be there, they have about a 50% stay rate. So it's about 500 kids that are assigned to be out of there. Shields has a capacity right now of 2,100 because we have 600 seats that are in portables. So we'll obviously take those away.
But currently they are only at 1,450 currently right now. And as of April of last year, we were over 1,900.
Yes.
So I need to make the board very well aware that this community is speaking very loudly that they are moving to the K-8s in the neighborhood. Both Eisenhower and Shields are consistently losing students as a middle school. And I'm 100% in agreement with Member Gray when she talks about the education benefits of an elementary and middle school. As a parent, I was all in. But as a community down there, they're looking at it differently, and we can't afford to open a middle school that's not going to fill. This community down there, we are seeing people going to the K-8s. You've got Dobie, you've got Apollo Beach. Their current elementaries are asking for it. So I need to understand how many seats we lost in 6 months at Shields. And Eisenhower still sits, I believe, at 47% capacity. 2 very good schools, phenomenal principals.
Yeah, Eisenhower's at 61%.
61%. Either way, they're not growing. They're not growing with fabulous leaders. The principal of the year, the fabulous leader at Eisenhower. So I'm going to recommend again, please consider this. Please consider putting in a facility that our communities are asking for. It's going to not take up as much space. There's so many opportunities here that, although I agree with Member Gray when it comes to the education benefits, I believe that's a better benefit in elementary and middle, but that is not what's filling. I've got 7 charter schools that are busting at the seams. SLAM just built another building. They have 3 buildings for their K-8, and they're expanding to high schools. So I'm asking you to please consider this. You guys were all out at Morgan. I know the growth, but our middle schools aren't getting any of the growth. They're leaving us. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Seeing no further comment, please vote when your lights appear.
Take mine off. Keep doing the same stupid thing.
We need to revote.
Right,
Gotta
thank you.
revote.
No, we don't. I'm good.
You got it?
I fixed it.
She fixed it.
And it passes with Member Hahn and Member Rendon descending from the vote. We will now move into the superintendent's comments. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My superintendent's updates this evening. We will begin around a strategic priority of academic excellence. And I do want to, I did receive a letter just a few days ago around our Purple Star Schools of Distinction. I think it's important to note that this board in 2021, it was this district that brought forward Purple Star Schools of Distinction as a legislative priority. And here we are in 2025 across the state now. We have this Purple Star Schools of Distinction because of the legislative priority of this board. So this Purple Star program honors schools that demonstrate a strong commitment to supporting military-connected students and their families during school transitions and throughout their K-12 experience. Our Purple Star schools provide dedicated points of contact, intentional transition supports, and resources that help students thrive academically and socially from day one. pretty outstanding that our school district now currently sits with 29 Purple Star schools in our school district. And just a special shout out, of course, Dr. Honda, you sit on the McPhail Council for Educational Excellence. Marcos Murillo also sits alongside you as well. And special shout out to Kim Sukash as well. The three of you do an amazing job in the support of our military families. So to both of you that are here, to Kim that's hopefully listening, appreciate all of your support. And to have 29 Purple Star schools is a pretty cool accomplishment, being that we just started in 2021. So congratulations to all those schools. Students in our HCPS public schools continue to demonstrate outstanding academic achievement, as reflected in the newly released 2026 U.S. News and World Report rankings for best elementary and middle schools. So U.S. News evaluated over 80,000 public elementary and or middle schools nationwide, and from this list, over 46,000 elementary schools and over 23,000 middle schools were ranked. This year, several Hillsborough County schools earned recognition for placing them among the top performing schools in Florida and the nation based on student proficiency in math and reading, adjusted for socioeconomic factors. Special congratulations to our schools who made this list. These rankings from U.S. News and World Report are a testament to the unwavering commitment of our educators, students, and families. So proud to see our schools recognized for their excellence happening every day in our classrooms. Couple shout outs here. Congratulations to 10th grade Steinbrenner High School student Ishanvi Subnivusu, who recently won the Florida Hispanic Heritage Monthly Essay Contest. She was one of 2 high school students from the state chosen for this award. So congratulations to her at Steinbrenner, 2 students across the state, and she was chosen to win that award. Winners received a 2-year Florida prepaid scholarship, and the award was presented earlier this month by First Lady Casey DeSantis at the Governor's Mansion. So congratulations to Ishanvi. And also, Plant City High School math teacher Marisol Valentin Robles was also recognized at this event as one of 4 winners chosen for the Excellence in Education Award. The winners were selected from nominations sent in by principals, teachers, parents, and or guardians and students. Marisol received a $2,500 monetary recognition by the Volunteer Florida Foundation. Special congratulations to both of them on their award. And then our FFA convention, congratulations goes out to our outstanding FFA chapters and members across our school district for their exceptional performances at the 2025 National FFA Convention, held October 29th to November 1st in Indianapolis. From top-tier chapter recognitions to national finalists and podium finishes, HCPS students showcased premier skills in agriculture leadership and communication. So congratulations to our FFA chapters, Plant City Durant, Sickles, Strawberry Crest, as well as Randall Middle School. So special shout-out to those that were recognized at the 2025 National Convention. And our Congressional App Challenge. I think, remember, Brendan, you didn't get a chance to go over there. Our November 12th, our students took honors at the 2025 Congressional App Challenge. More than 10 years ago, congressional leaders launched the App Challenge to encourage America's youth to become the technology workforce of the future. Today, more than 90% of members of Congress host district competitions, inspiring over 85,000 American students to use technology for civic engagement and social good. So first place went to Middleton students for their NeuroPath app. Second place, Steinbrenner, the Remind Me app. And third place, Steinbrenner again for their Care Connect app. So just special thanks to Congresswoman Laura Lee for hosting this event in her district. Congratulations to all of our winners. Our Everyday Attendance Matters poster contest, just want to get a shout out. Yesterday morning, we joined United Way to visit the winners of the Everyday Matters attendance poster. Congratulations goes to Frank Sosa, a second grader from Summerfield Elementary, and third place to Childs Elementary's Ayan Sangamola, who is in 5th grade. Thanks again to United Way for partnering with us to promote the importance of being in school every day. I like those posters there. And around exceptional talent, we did host our college and career night at Leto High School last week. And this is an event we brought back. So I know a lot of the team from Giselle, Mr. Brady, you and your team, Mr. Murillo, we brought back our college and career night hosted at Leto last week. The event was specifically for Spanish-speaking students and their families. We got like 79 families that came out to that event. The planning of this event was a collaborative effort between academic services, Tracy Brown's team and student services, and workforce, adult, and communications. Almost 80 families attended and received valuable information to help their junior, senior continue to prepare for post-secondary sex. I just want to give a shout out to my team. This was something we haven't had in a number of years. The team got together, found a way to bring it out, and over 80 of our families, close to 80, came out for that event. And I think there's more to come, right? Tomorrow night is the next one, and that is at Riverview. So the next one is tomorrow night. So team, thank you for all of that. And to Charm, on October 29th, we were honored to receive the Family Friendly Business Award, which recognizes our commitment to creating a workplace where employees and their families feel supported and valued. We were recognized as a Gold Award winner for implementing policies that promote flexibility, well-being, and long-term success. These efforts not only help us attract and retain top talent, but they also boost productivity, strengthen loyalty, and contribute to a healthier, more resilient community. Dr. Patton, congratulations on that award. Eugene. All right, almost getting there. Special congratulations to Deborah Blossom. I know board members, a lot of you work with Deborah. She Visitor Management Assistant Department Manager, as Deborah is, for being recognized at the recent School Safe Annual Conference for her exceptional leadership in building one of the most efficient and successful volunteer programs in the state of Florida. Deborah does an amazing job, we all know, and it's nice to see her recognized at the state level. Through her vision and dedication and passion for service, Deborah has set a new benchmark for how districts can engage their community support students in schools. And I know we talk about John Newman and his team. Deborah sits under John Newman. What we do in that area, a lot of other districts across the state aspire to, have the team that we have that leads our district. So Gold Standard of Excellence Award for Deborah Blossom. And we talked a lot about school choice magnet application. That closes December 7th. That's that first window. We have 3 windows. So those of you who are listening, December 7th, we'll have our fall break. We come back. I think that next Friday is when it closes out, which is December the 7th. Just some numbers. So as of yesterday, we had over 11,500 magnet applications, which is almost 500 more than this time last year. And we'll have our next Magnet Expo on Thursday, December 4th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Spoto. And on to the gridiron. Congratulations to the 5 high school football teams for making it to the regional semifinalists. So yeah, we had some great football over this past Friday, and now this Friday. You can see the schedule that's listed there. We have one home game, which will be Armwood, and you'll have Sumner, Tech, Gaither, and Jefferson on the road. So yeah, we've got some excellent high school football. Our teams are doing great, so let's hope to get them to move on to the finals. And finally, we made it to fall break, so Friday we made it. So we have our final. We'll have our fall break that begins next Monday. We'll be out that Monday through Friday for fall break, and I just wish everyone a great fall break, happy Thanksgiving, and our students return to school on Monday, December 1st. So, Madam Chair, those are my comments.
Thank you, Superintendent. Now we're going to move on to board member comments. And a reminder, you have 5 minutes, or I'm going to hit the gavel. Member Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A big thank you and appreciation to every one of your cabinet members. I watch you all work diligently, professionally, and with heartfelt care for our students. So enjoy your fall break, Thanksgiving holidays. In the spirit of the conversation we've had tonight regarding co-location, the co-location of Schools of Hope within existing school board facilities have raised several concerns among board members and constituents, board members within our 67 counties. The primary issue is the use of public school funds. Many believe these resources should be directed towards strengthening neighborhood public schools rather than supporting privately managed entities such as the Schools of Hope. Furthermore, questions have been raised as to why another school system should be allowed to operate rent-free within public school buildings. We are reminded that co-located charter schools such as Schools of Hope will add a certain amount of students. Each of their students will receive the same amount of public tax dollars as traditional public school students, except they do not have to pay for the physical building, its operations, nor human resources. This extra funding is coming off the backs of our own financial well-being. Inclusive is our fund balance. Just a few concerns that are specific. Student safety and liability issues. Lawsuits cost a lot of money. Drug usage or sales in a school. Bringing weapons to the school. Data breaches. There's no guardrails thus far on these students that are coming into our schools, operations, upkeep and external and internal building maintenance, inclusive, expensive, and very much needed is the HVAC system. How about the custodian cleaning of classrooms and the overall school site? That will be needed and asked to also be done. Human resources, sharing of administrative duties, resource officers, nurses, social workers, PTAs, to name just a few, and worrisome as well, sharing of common spaces such as the cafeteria, media centers, playgrounds. Creating safety and equity issues both will require additional staffing. Now, to this end, I make a motion to bring before the board a proclamation which will bring public awareness and acknowledge entities such as Schools of Hope to our Hillsborough County Public School District. Again, to bring public awareness and acknowledge entities such as Schools of Hope to our Hillsborough County Public District. That's my motion.
Okay, so we need a little clarification on that. So this is not something that could be voted on at this meeting. This would be, I just want to confirm that this will be for a future meeting, correct?
Correct, correct.
So this will be a proclamation. Board members, you'll recall that proclamations do require votes. The board has gotten away from that traditionally, and you do recognitions now. This would be something, you have the right to do it, but it is something that's a little bit different. It would require a vote of the board. So in order to proceed, you would need a second of your motion, and the effect of that would be at the next meeting, if the motion passes, for the superintendent to bring back a proclamation that encapsulates what you said.
I second that motion.
So now, board members, you should have a discussion about whether at the next board meeting, you want to consider a proclamation that Ms. Gray described. You should clear the board, please. So if you want to speak only on the motion of whether to bring a proclamation, then this would be the time to do that.
Member Hahn?
Hold on. Thank you, Member Perez. So, I mean, I'm going to be super blunt here. Proclamations, complaining from the dais, even going to Tallahassee like we did, is not going to solve this problem. It's not going to make an impact. Let me tell you what you need to solve this problem. You need something called leverage. Let me tell you how we could have gotten leverage tonight. We could have postponed these 2 agenda items. We could have worked with the builders and the contractors who have a lot of leverage in Tallahassee. And we could have worked together to get some real momentum to put some guidelines into this bill. But no, we want to play political theater. I'm not participating in political theater. I'm a problem solver. That's how I operate. I want to reiterate, this board established practices regarding proclamations. As a board, we agreed over a year ago to discontinue issuing proclamations, and we formally incorporated that into our way of work. What is a way of work? It is what we all agreed to, and it's how we will work together. This is not the first time in the last few months that board members have gone outside of our way of work to try and get something done. It does not create a good working environment for this board. Okay, bringing forward a proclamation at this time, regardless of the topic, goes directly against the procedures we agreed upon collectively at our board retreat. Why do we even do a way of work at this point? Why do we have a board retreat if consistently members work outside of that? I don't understand it. You know, I don't understand that why we don't put the processes in place that we agreed to. So between the fact that there is absolutely no leverage in doing this, and that we've blown any chance of the leverage we could have had, this completely gives a big old, well, you know what, to the way of work that this board agreed to. This is just not good operating. It is not a way to be collaborative, but most of all, operating in this manner is poor governance.
Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've been very clear when we've gone to Tallahassee. I've been very clear when we've done here that I have major issues when it comes to co-locating in our schools, major concerns. But we made decisions on this board today that give them more opportunities than it does to take away their opportunities. And now we're going to go against the way of work that this board came collectively together to say we're not going to have proclamations. And we're going to go against that way of work to prove a point that we're all in agreement on. Again, I cannot reiterate the fact, Member Hahn is right. It's not good practice and it's not good governance. If we're going to collaboratively work together, we do have to have leverage because they're watching every move we make. They're asking, where's our excess property? They're accessing, where's our excess building? And they're looking at it and they want it. And we have to make those decisions tonight. We have to make those decisions. I made that in my community. I made it a priority. But to throw in a thing that went against our way of work that we collaboratively came together to do is not good practice. And I stand behind that.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have some questions for you, Mr. Porter. What's the difference between a resolution and a proclamation?
So there's not much difference between the two. Sometimes a resolution has official meaning. And for instance, in other local governments, a resolution is the vehicle by which something is accomplished. Sometimes the board has to pass a resolution that requires a vote. So a resolution is a generic term, but it sometimes has very specific meaning. A proclamation is just expressing the board's will. It doesn't have the force of law. It's just a comment, or you're proclaiming that you feel a certain way about a certain issue, which is what Ms. Gray is asking you to do. What the board and what Dr. Hahn and Member Rendon are referring to is, over the past few years, the board has gotten away from doing proclamations for things like Black History Month or Gay Pride Month, and you've gone to recognitions which do not require votes. So this is something different. You can't have a proclamation on an issue like this without voting, because it's not just recognizing something like Black History Month. It is actually expressing the board's opinion. And so, as Dr. Hahn and Ms. Rendon said, the board has gotten away from doing that. That doesn't mean you can't change your way of work or change the way you operate, but those are sort of the distinctions and why they're different. So a proclamation, which she's requesting, is just proclaiming or announcing what the board's position is on this particular issue. And it would require a vote, and in order to pass, it would have to be at least 4 members voting for it.
Thank you. And Member Gray, what is your hope with the proclamation?
Clarify?
What's your hope? Just to send a message that the majority of the board
sending a
is...
message in terms of a board that we are not, we definitely want the public to be aware of what will be happening, and we definitely want to express our concerns, and that's basically what we're doing. We're expressing the concern, how it will affect us fiduciarily, and how it will affect our students and many other areas, operations, etc. So.
Thank you. And who decides the wording for the proclamation if it was to pass?
Superintendent would be tasked, because keep in mind, it's the superintendent's agenda, and he's bringing it forward, and he would take the comments that Ms. Gray made in her motion and any other board comments and bring a draft. You would see it on the agenda, and that's what you would be reacting to.
And if I may, Member Vaughn, Superintendent Van Ayers is completely aware of this as well, of what I just proposed.
Okay. I had asked at some point to bring a resolution about this, because I do think that this is such a big deal that it is a stance that we should be talking about as a board. But I withdrew that because it shouldn't be up to one member, the chair or whoever, to put this on the agenda. I do think that if it is something that we're going to that we decide collectively, that it should be because it's a majority of the board and not one person making that decision for the rest of the board. Because if you throw recognition on there, that's against the will of the board. So I do appreciate that while I feel the concern from my other board members that this breaks the protocol that we agreed upon and the frustration with that, I also understand the urgency that you feel to do this, and I do appreciate that you brought it forward where we can discuss it. Board members have a chance to air their concerns, as opposed to, as the chair, just putting a recognition or something on the agenda without the consent of other board members. That's not something I felt comfortable doing as the chair. So I appreciate at least that we have the chance to have this discussion and for my fellow board members to say what their concerns are about it. So I appreciate that. That's all the questions I have for now. I'm going to allow other board members to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Combs?
Thank you, Chair Perez. I agree that, there's certain times of way of work, but then there's certain things that are happening that are out of our control. Like at the last minute, this bill goes through when no one's looking at. I mean, sometimes we have to change our way of work because of what's happening in Tallahassee. I mean, Superintendent, almost every time I talk to you, I ask you, what are you doing? Are you talking to the superintendents? Why are you not doing a press conference with every newspaper? Isn't it every time I talk to you, I'm like, why isn't more happening? I'm about to write an op-ed. I interviewed with USF. I was with the Tampa Bay Times. Every day I'm like, let's talk about the schools of hope. And everyone wants to just bury in the sand and just let it happen and then react to it by not opening schools or closing schools or rezoning or doing this. No, let's make the public aware of that. And the only way we can do that is fight back. I'm tired of sitting still and being such a good person for the Department of Education. And every time I turn on the news, there's some kind of new curriculum that no one gets to see, or new concept that no one gets to see, or schools of hope, or changing laws constantly. I mean, I am tired of sitting there being fearful of them removing me or something happening because I'm not saying anything. Enough is enough. We need to fight back with the schools of hope today. I asked you, one of my main questions on my closing was like, what are you doing, Superintendent? Why are you not calling a news conference with every single newspaper, every single TV station and saying, this is wrong, the safety of kids? Like, what happens when a kid's in school and they need to be signed out? Or there's an emergency, or they need medication. Who's overseeing that? Where is the oversight? When we went to Tallahassee and I spoke to a representative and I said, this doesn't seem fair. You know what he said? Too bad. I don't care. So you know what? Too bad. I don't care either. I don't need to follow a certain way of work if we need to let the news and the newspapers know this is fundamentally wrong. And I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're an independent. If you look and unwrap and look at this law, it is wrong. I'm even hearing districts that had no schools, no D, F, or they had all A's and B's. They're going there and they're going into their schools, all these districts, and people are talking about it, but we're just sitting here quietly. Thank goodness for some of the public comment that come all the time. Thank goodness for that. I've been speaking about it dais every time, but does it make a difference? No. So whatever we need to do to raise awareness in this community that this is happening. And someone said to me, well, Miami was 100. You guys were only 20 schools. For this year, next year, we could be 200. I mean, let's fight when the fighting is due, and that's right now. And let's not fight at the end of the session. Let's fight now when it matters.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Perez. We do talk about this. We talked about it, board comments. We talked about it for 2 hours tonight. Nobody is sitting like in a bunker, not talking and thinking about this. You just said you were going to talk about it from your comments tonight. We talk about this all the time with the superintendent, with his staff. I mean, quite frankly, I don't want to fight. I don't want to complain. I want to find a solution to this. I want to collaborate and get some guidelines put in place. I just don't want to stamp my feet and pound my hands and complain. A proclamation, you need a strategy. He hasn't held a press conference because he's trying behind the scenes to build a strategy to make some changes. Not everything has to be talked about into a microphone. Sometimes you actually get something done when you keep things close to your vest and you strategically approach it. So, this whole idea that nobody's doing anything. You know, people are doing something. They may not be doing it y'all's way because they don't see that as a pathway to change. And that's what we're trying to accomplish. If you want to make changes, you've got to collaborate with people. You've got to have a strategic plan. You've got to have some leverage, because complaining and listening to yourself speak, that's not going to make any changes in Tallahassee. So this, to me, is not solving a problem. And you know what? There is a way to change our way of work, and that is, we have a retreat in January. You want to bring proclamations back? We can talk about it and change our way of work. But, you know, I could make an argument for any reason to go outside of our way of work. I could make a good argument to do it. But that would not be in the spirit of what this board agreed to. It would not be in the spirit of collaboration. So there's two issues here for me. One is the approach that some board members want to take. Okay, I think you know, we've been up in Tallahassee, we've talked from the dais, and I don't agree with it. I do not agree with it because I don't think it's going to move the needle at all. Like, read the room, you know. And I don't agree with going outside the way of work, and I'm frustrated because this is not the first time in the last 6 months this has happened. Every time somebody wants to do something, they go outside the way of work, they come up with a rationale for it. I'm just, I think there's a way to do things. There's a process we put in place so we would be a cohesive board working together. So I think if you want to have a conversation about bringing back proclamations, we can do that in January. But, to do it outside of that, I think it's disrespectful. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. We're very far apart on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Gray?
Yeah, I just wanted to say there's a difference between the term complaining and the term that I used, which was awareness. Awareness is not complaining. Awareness is giving the right to every constituency out there what is happening and that we are concerned. That's awareness versus complaining. Secondly, I believe if there's any time in the history of public education that a proclamation needs to be made, it is now. Because right now we are seeing and experiencing throughout the conversations we even had today that our fidelity of traditional public school education is not going to be the same as this moves on. Whether we wait till March, after March, it's happening. So, board members, of course, I'd love to have you agree. I understand perfectly, Member Hahn. You know, by the way, you and I've served on this board for many years, and you know I very rarely go into another way of work. Well, but at any rate, I respect rules and regulations since I've been a teacher as well. So having said that, difference between being a complainer and asking each and every one of us to bring forth awareness, and public education is right now in a critical crosshairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Combs?
And my last comment is that when the state or the Department of Education was going to close the accelerated programs, when we were going to lose funding for SATs or AP classes, people did scream and shout out, and awareness was being made. And guess what? That changed. So the fighting is when the time is when they're in session, not after the session. When people came up, when people were aware that their AP classes were going to be gone, that some of all the funding was going to be gone. Guess what? People got together, they came together, and they spoke about it. And then the legislature change some of their outcome. I think most people are not aware of what this means, the co-location. If you're involved in, if you watch, I mean, how many people watch these school board meetings? Not that many people watch the school board meetings. That's a fact. I mean, I never even watched one until I got on the board, honestly. So a lot of people don't watch school board meetings. What they do is they pay attention to newspaper articles. They pay attention to the news. They pay attention to those types of things. They pay attention for this type of argument, might get some news. And guess what? It might make people aware. And I think it's great. It's worth it. If it means that our way of work was disrupted or if it wasn't perfect, but it makes people aware that someone is going to come in and take space and take resources from our schools, then it's worth it. I think we have to try every tactic right now because sitting there quietly is not working. I am just tired of sitting there for years, and maybe people say I'm not quiet, and I do speak out. Sure, I speak out because I am just tired of what's happening to education. I mean, I think about Florida, and I think eventually we're going to be a third world country because so many kids are not getting an education, and people are looking at education as a profit way of making things instead of really educating children. For a representative for me to say, hey, this is not right that you're funding one and not another, and the person says, I don't care, that tells me they don't care. So let me make sure that I push back and they're aware. I think this is the time. And sure, I don't like to change the way of work, but at the end of the day, one thing that we don't have is time. We're going to Thanksgiving, then Christmas. The session's almost over. Let's push back and say, you know what? Hillsborough County Public Schools has very loudly, clearly said, we do not believe in this co-location. We think it's wrong. We think it doesn't help students, and it's all about people making profit and not educating students. So let's keep saying that loud and clear.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Perez. Look, I think at the end of the day, we have two very different approaches to solving problems or trying to solve problems. Nobody is sitting quietly, but I have a very different approach than you, Member Combs and Member Gray, and maybe other board members who we haven't heard from to solve this problem. Again, I'm a strategic thinker, and I don't agree with this strategy. I don't think it's going to move the needle, and I feel very strongly about this way of work because it is happening more and more frequently by various board members, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But I am very tired of this constantly, a big surprise at the dais. And it's frustrating, and it makes the board look very disorganized. So I'm not going to support this. Thanks.
So, board members, the motion on the floor is to bring back, not to vote on the substance of the proclamation tonight, but to bring back at the next board meeting a proclamation that outlines the issues that Ms. Gray raised. So if you vote yes, that means you're in favor of considering a proclamation at the next meeting. If you vote no, it means you're not in favor of considering a proclamation. So you should vote at this point. So the superintendent will look at the minutes of the meeting and provide a proclamation that reflects the board's discussion and the maker of the motions.
Thank you. Pablo, could you reset the board? I don't know. Yeah. Okay, Member Vaughn?
Is it my turn? We're just doing closing comments at this point. All right, closing comments at this point. All right, and on the tail of that, first thing I want to talk about is I've been lucky enough to attend a couple Great American Teach-Ins. Some schools are doing them early just because of scheduling reasons, which actually allows me to attend more. And I just want to say what a great experience it's been. I go in and kind of do a presentation to elementary and middle school kids and some high school kids about what it is to be a school board member. And then they actually bring forward policy and they vote on it. And I have some notes for you, Mr. Superintendent, about things that are going to be changed. But I just want to thank so much the schools that have allowed me to go in there. It's been a really great experience. I will say that at the end of every presentation and mock policy cycle, I ask students to raise their hand if they're interested in becoming school board members. And so far, out of 7 different presentations, 2 kids have raised their hand. So I just want to say that's been a really great experience. I do want to kind of change tone for a bit. Unfortunately, tragedy continues in our community. Wharton High School lost their theater teacher, Mr. James Warren. The community is very deeply saddened by this, and I just wanted to speak out, and not speak out, but just memorialize Mr. Warren and all he gave to Wharton and the theater program, and send our deepest condolences to that community and to that school and to his family, and just thank him for his service. I believe his wife is also a teacher in our district, so I just wanted to mention him. Also, I wanted to mention the 4 people who were killed in Ybor and Bradley's in the tragic accident that we had, as well as there was a victim of a road rage shooting recently there. And just seeing this uptick in the violence in our community, I just want to implore people to, really just be kind to each other, to think about the actions, to stop with the violence and the disregard for human life. It's taking a big toll in our community. So I just wanted to mention those victims. I know that has been really a grieving process for that community. Also, I would like to kind of talk about, as we discuss all of the choices that we're making in this guessing game that we're playing with our community. I know that Pinellas, in response to these Schools of Hope, are doing kind of a big community listening tour where they're going out in the community and listening to different communities of what they want to see in their schools. And I know I had asked you if we could do something like a survey that we send out to the community, just gathering feedback so that when we're sitting here and we're talking about, why Mama's interested in as far as education, instead of board members having to kind of guess the community needs. Obviously, it's not going to be 100% participation, but that we have some feedback and stuff going out to our community to ask as they change what their needs are, so that we have more opinions and feedback when we're up here making those decisions, instead of just the responsibility of being on us and, of course, Mr. Farkas, because you're responsible for it all now. On the lines of that, I know this is kind of off topic, but I would like to ask, I believe we talked about it, Dr. Patton, a survey to go out to our employees around healthcare. I know that our committee does a good job in trying to vet all the information and bring us a recommendation, but since healthcare is changing so much and we have so much anxiety around that, I'd really like to see a survey sent out to our employees around what they value. Would you rather a higher copay or more access, or, really get a feel for our employees? So I would just wanted to officially ask for those 2 surveys. Aside from that, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about a lot of stuff other than to say, the holidays approaching. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, I just want to say that I'm grateful for all of our employees who show up every single day and give their hearts and soul into supporting our kids. We can sit up here and talk about our successes as much as we want. The state can talk about the successes, but it really comes down to the employees in our district who, really give their all to our kids, regardless of what obstacles are placed in front of them. So I just want to say to them, to my fellow colleagues, to everyone at the district, I hope that you have a peaceful, safe holiday surrounded by loved ones, and you have time to give gratitude if it's something that you celebrate. And I'll see you all at the next board meeting. Thank you again.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pablo, you want to show the first, please, video? Okay, we had a ceremony on November the 6th, and it was adding names to the wall, and Mr. Farkas, thank you. It was wonderful. We have about we have about maybe 900 names on the wall, and we continue to add names of former Tigers, graduates of George S. Milson High School. It was really nice, and you can see the alumni, the alumnus, Mr. Smith, is the president. And those are the new names that we have on the wall. But we have 4 other walls there with, about 800, 900 names. So any former Tigers out there, you don't have them put your names on the wall, please do so. So we had a great time. Thank you. there we have the principal of the year, which was great. We have Deanna Fisher, which is the principal of Shields School, has been named the 2025-26 principal of the year. And we'd like to say congratulations to her and her faculty. It was really nice. It was great. Moving on, Pablo, please. And there we also have the assistant principal of the year, Mr. Travion Mitchell, who is at Tampa Bay Tech High School since 2021. He has been named the 25-26 assistant principal of the year. And by the way, he's the APA, assistant principal for administration. Okay, moving on. We have some more, Pablo? Okay. Okay, last night we had the Blake High School photography. It was great out there. As you see the young man that I'm pointing at, his name is Cisco Betanis, and he is really a phenomenal student. He really is a phenomenal student. And you look at the photography, it's like professional. It's professional. They did a great job. And we had it at the county center, so it went really good, the exhibition. Okay? Pablo? Okay, as you can see now, the Safety Patrol, they had a great ceremony. Ms. Brown was there. We had a great ceremony initiating the students to be on the patrol force. And they gave me a badge. I had it on, but I decided to take it off. It was really nice. And I had never seen in the recent years to have a ceremony with the Safety Patrol. But I tell you what, it was really great. And we're going to end it with the next picture up there. And I hope you guys recognize that picture. That picture is from 1960-61. I was captain of the patrol force at Christina Meacham Elementary School. I was a pretty good-looking guy then, huh? Yeah, so I was captain of the patrol force. And again, moving on, thank you, Pablo. And I want to say, hey, I hope we have a happy holidays, and thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Member Sheikh. Member Washington. Member Hunt?
Oh, what? My mic's on?
No, I just turned it on.
Oh, it's on. Even if I didn't do it. Okay, so last Saturday we had an early childhood literacy fair at ADEM. We had about 300 plus children show, and they were able to get free books and resources. And it was a nice morning from 9 to 11. Our title sponsor, I want to thank for all of their support in helping purchase the books that we gave out. Suncoast Credit Union, they're amazing. And so I just, I want to make sure we thank them. They've always been such good partners to this district, and I'm so thankful for them to find early childhood literacy as important as we do as a district and a board. I also want to thank a lot of different partners that participated in the fair from within HCPS, FACE, our literacy department, our early childhood literacy bus, which is always a big hit, K-12 art. We had tables with kids. They were able to do art. VPK was represented there, literacy, early learning literacy. HR was there, which is great. It was a great opportunity to interact with parents who might be looking for employment. Outside partnerships, Fiddlers was there. Tampa Bay United, they actually did a book drive for this event over the last few weeks, and then they donated those new books to the children in our community. So thank you to Tampa Bay United Soccer. Mayan, they always have such wonderful ongoing support. The Children's Board was there. Suncoast also had a table there. The Glazer Children's Museum was there. Seniors in Service. The Tampa Bay Sun came out, their street team, and they made special bookmarks for the fair. So that was really cool. They handed those out to all the kids. United Way Suncoast was there. We also had a storyteller, Phineas Slayton. She's amazing. And we had a face painter and a balloon twister. We had music. And I just want to thank the superintendent, the many cabinet members and district leaders, Mr. Farkas, Shay McCray, Tracy Brown, Marcus Murillo, Gary Brady, Rick Graves, for attending, and appreciate that. I want to thank Chief Newman for providing a resource officer. I want to thank Laura Cross for coming out from communications and taking some photos. If you want to see those photos, they're on our HCPS, I think, Facebook page. And this would not be possible all these years. Anne-Marie Courtney and her team have been an amazing driver and support in this work. Sherry Bollinger, Eugene Tavris, Sharon O'Connor. You know, I know I probably miss people, but I mean, it would not happen without all of these people supporting. And I feel so fortunate to live in a community where our partners come together to wrap their arms around our families and our children. Another thing I wanted to highlight, I wanted to echo Superintendent Ayers' comments around the Purple Star schools. I know all too well through my own family the sacrifices that military families make. And for me, this is a priority to make sure that these Purple Star schools exist and are expanded so that our military families and particularly our students get the support and resources they need. So thank you to all the schools on that list that, you know, work so hard to get that recognition of Purple Star School. It's not easy. Some other great news in the same vein, it's around military families. The Tampa Bay Chamber, South Tampa Chamber, Tampa Bay Defense Alliance, and the MacDill Support Group are proud to announce that the Tampa Bay region has been awarded the Abilene Trophy, which recognizes the nation's most outstanding community support to an Air Mobility Command base. And the award was officially announced, and I think it's going to be given in January. So this is wonderful for our community, and it just really reinforces all the hard work that we've been doing between MacDill, our chambers, this district, and many other partners. It's wonderful that the hard work is going to be recognized. It says, one quote, "The MacDill Support Council is honored to be recognized by the Abilene Trophy. This award reflects our community's enduring commitment to the airmen, families, and the mission of MacDill Air Force Base. We are proud to stand alongside those who serve and to support them with the dedication they so deeply deserve." Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, and you're lucky, all of you, that I forgot the turkey hats I had at home because I was going to make you all put them on for a group photo. So we will have to do that next Thanksgiving, and I'll have to maybe do something Christmas. But I did have about 10 turkey hats. We don't have another meeting before Thanksgiving. So, you know, anyway, you're all lucked out. Go buy a lottery ticket. You're lucky tonight.
Thank you, Member Hahn. And, you know, I just want to say this. You know, we were in Tallahassee, and I tell you, you know, I know we have our disputes up here, but in Tallahassee, we were awesome. I mean, you know, talking to our legislators really up there, fighting for Hillsborough County, for funding, mental health, for our students, for this district. And I just want to thank my fellow board members for that. But also, I want to thank my fellow board members for entrusting me with the role of school board chair. I'm grateful for your support and look forward to working together to make a positive impact on our school community. I know that together we can strive for excellence and create a brighter future for our students. Thank you once again for this opportunity. Also, in light of, is it up there, Pablo? In light of the challenges many families are facing, the increased cost of food, we are excited to announce that there will be a food drive. Boricuas de Corazon is giving a thanks event at Aquila Morgan High School on November 22nd from 1 to 4. To secure your spot at this event, please visit Eventbrite through Boricuas de Corazon Inc. events to obtain your tickets. A ticket distribution will begin November 19th at 3 p.m. Kindly note that the tickets are required for entry. However, individuals who are not able to secure a ticket before 3 p.m. on that event day there will be accommodating walk-ins if food boxes are left and available. So let's come together as a community and ensure that everyone can enjoy a hearty Thanksgiving meal. And we look forward to seeing you at Aquila Morgan High School. And the address there is 1712 West Lake Drive in Waimama. As we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to each and every one of our students, teachers, and staff members. You know, your hard work and dedication and positivity do not go unnoticed. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, you know, I want to reflect on the blessings that you are in my life and cherish the moments of joy and the growth that you've had for me and that I've experienced with you. Wishing you all a wonderful holiday filled with laughter, love, and gratitude. And thank you for being a valued part of not only our community, but of my life. Happy Thanksgiving, and be safe, and we will see you when you get back. And with that, this meeting is over. Adjourned.